Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the podcast. This is episode 59, if I'm not mistaken. I'm your co-host, M2 Dave, and as always, I'm here with my other co-host, MK Rio. Tom will be joining us in about an hour or so, maybe a little bit earlier. In the meantime, we invited the guest that we promised you we would have last time, who is ChernyyVolk. So, Chernny, say hi, dude.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Welcome, Chernny. It's great to have you. Like Dave said, this is episode 59. I guess we could start with the first topic of the day. And this first topic is, now that it's been a month after the last patch has been released for MK1, and we've kind of had time with it, how much do you guys feel that the patch has improved on MK1, or did it maybe make it worse in some areas? I guess we'll start with Chernny first.
Yeah, let me, speaking on that, hold on, let me pull up, I'm actually going to pull up the patch notes to make sure I don't confuse something with a previous change. Hold on. If you don't mind.
No, that's fine. That's actually good you're doing that.
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Okay. I got it. Let me speed read through it real quick. It'll just take me a few seconds here. Just need to make sure that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah, okay. So, question is, what do I think of the patch right now?
Yeah, the question is, how much do you feel the patch improved MK1?
Okay, I think my answer has got to be a little bit in depth here. Is that okay? Like, can I talk about the specifics here?
It's
not
totally fine. Yeah, you're not being rushed.
It's not as simple for me as the patch is like good or bad or improve the game. Because there are a couple of things. There are things in here that I think are objectively, obviously good, but there are a couple of things here that I look at and I'm like, what in the world is wrong with NRS? So if I had one complaint, for example, that I really did not like, and I did not realize people complained about this, they killed the damage on the down 2 cancels on punishes. After they had buffed it when it was previously useless. So they didn't gut the damage back to the previous level it used to be, but some of these combos lost like 8 to 10%, and I think that is unreasonable. You're already spending 2 bars. You're spending 2 bars, and any cameo usage in those combos, even beforehand, got scaled like crazy. And I guess I did not realize that there were people that did not like it, that you got high damage off of those. So that is one change in the patch I don't like. I don't think that was a good idea to nerf that. I liked how much damage the down 2 cancels did, and I thought it rewarded you for both, some pre-planning and for some, mashup knowledge, etc. What you could actually punish with a down 2, for example. So I really don't like that. Now, as far as like character changes
go, for the damage of how it was before to now, like what's the damage difference?
So I have there's a video. I did a reaction video to a guy named Branks on YouTube, and he showed a combo, for example, where he was playing Smoke. We're both Smoke players, and the combo doing a basic down 2 into like jump 1-1-2, it went from 39% to 31%.
Oh, so that's a hefty damage reduction, like almost 10%.
Right, it's like a really big damage reduction. And it's even worse with other characters, because a lot of the other characters, they do more in their combos, right? So their combos end up with more scaling long term, right? And so I really didn't like it that they did that. That kind of, I don't know, it felt like catering to a segment of players that should not be listened to, if I'm being honest. Now, I'm looking over the patch notes here. So here's the thing. When it comes to the characters, the playable characters, I like what they did for Astra. I like it that they keep emphasizing the dark mode stuff. I think anything that increases the usefulness of that over just adding direct power to her like upfront stuff. I think is always good for her. I really like it that they hella buffed Baraka's install. I don't know if you guys have seen just how much that improved. But that's like worth using now over a regular fail blow, depending on the situation you're in. Some of the changes I don't understand. I don't know why Kenshi needed a no gravity scaling down back one. That's like weird to me. Or down forward low, whatever rising combat is in this game. I forget what the input is. And I don't see the point in like the ancestral guard dash cancels, the frame data on those being better. It doesn't appear to do anything for him.
Yeah, so really quick, Chernny, can you touch on what changed a lot about Baraka's install? Like, what did they do to make it better?
So they first of all, to explain how it works. You activate the install, and he is able to cancel special moves into special moves. Unlike Melina cancels string to strings, he cancels special moves into special moves. So the way it used to work before was he lost health and he gained meter passively over time. So essentially what they did was they cut the health loss in half and they doubled the meter gain while he's in the install.
Oh, I see.
So he can go from no bars to 3 bars, and I think it's like 10 seconds right now. 10 to 12 seconds.
Yeah, so they made it more impactful.
Yeah, they made it way more impactful. To the point where, like, you know, if you didn't have a bar starting out at hit confirm, well, you end up with a bar can extend. And some of the conversions and the combos he's able to do now with the install are kind of crazy. It kind of looks like Jury, even Street Fighter Feng Shui engine optimal stuff when I look at it. But basically, he's able to essentially do like 50% at what is ultimately no cost to him beyond the fail blow if he gets a hit.
Yeah, aside from the health drain.
Right, aside from the health drain, so like he can hit you starting out with no bar, and he can do up to 50% by the time the install runs out off of one hit. Right,
it almost sounds
so
like
that's pretty.
It almost sounds like a version of X Factor, which I like. I feel like they should have gave every character their own unique install instead of only 2 of them having it. That would have been way better than having a fatal blow.
I agree, but I think it's just NRS being cautious. Like, they didn't want to introduce a whole new type of dynamic into their game that's not, you know, been seen in their games before. I hope they do more of that.
But that's actually a good idea. I'd rather have something like that that's creative and done properly for every character than have just fatal blows, because I'm not a fan of fatal blows whatsoever.
Of course, yeah, you don't want to ask me the smoke player, because I would have told you they should give him 25 seconds of invisibility.
Yeah, that could be his, what is it called? Install. That wouldn't make sense for him. It's like your comeback move that gives you this huge edge.
Yeah, like at least invisibility that doesn't go away if he gets hit.
Okay, wait. That's a little too much. If you get hit, it doesn't go away?
Well, right now his invisibility works like that, right? If he gets hit, it goes away.
Yeah,
but if he had an install that gave him like a standard invisibility period where he didn't lose it if he got hit, that would kind of make it worth it.
That'd be broken. I think maybe make it so it lasts 20 seconds, or screw it, make it last forever until you get hit. But once you get hit, it goes into the Predator cameo, and then if you take another hit, it goes back to normal. That seems more fair.
I will say this, though. I will say this. There's one other thing they could do. They can make it give him a 10% damage bonus while he's invisible, like he had in MKX. A lot of people don't remember when he went invisible in MKX, he got a 10% damage bonus.
Yeah, I remember Reptile had that in MK9, but then they removed it.
So, yeah, I really like the introduction of stuff like that. I'm assuming that means that they're going to explore more things like that in their next game, whichever one that is. Or maybe in another patch where they do another patch for this game. I mean, we still don't know because they still haven't said if the game is fully finished yet, right? So as far as we know, we can assume they're at least going to do one more patch still, some sort. Who knows what it will be.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the point about the balance changes. So, I do like what they did with Katana. They gave her, you know, a conditional setup tool, making a 2-4-2 hit overhead instead of mid on the last hit. that gives her like a little bit of offensive capability she didn't have before to help her when she's like behind on life and shit like that. I think things like that are fine. I know some people don't. Um, all the Lee May changes are objectively good for her. She's just straight up way better. Her getting all those hitbox increases on everything while her hitboxes remain the same makes her a lot better of a character, especially for playing neutral, on top of the fact that, she's still full combos pokes, and she still does gigantic damage, and she has like I think her neutral control of the lanterns is pretty good, if you ask me. So, like that. Let me go down here and see what else there is. Liu Kang is whatever. The Natara change is whatever. We'll talk about Raiden later, maybe. I think Raiden is maybe a tad bit overbuffed, but I like what they did. It's kind of hard for me to articulate how I feel about Raiden. He's ridiculous now, but I do like what they did to make him ridiculous. I like the idea
real quick on Raiden.
So he had this move called Razzle Dazzle. That's the move where he collapsed.
Can I comment real quick on Raiden?
Yeah.
Just one thing. I fought a Raiden yesterday in Combat League, and he had this one annoying move. It was like this super fast, like exploding light move. And if you get hit by it, there's like a 40% combo with Jax, and it's like safe. It seems like whatever that move
it's
is.
Plus on block.
It's plus on block,
and it punishes down once.
Yeah, that move is obnoxious because he just he was using it neutral. It was like annoying, like randomly just doing it.
Yeah,
in footsies. That move is insanely good. That's seems like the only good thing Raiden has now. But I'm glad he's doing that instead of his old Storm Cell meta.
But the thing is, to be fair though, I do think it's fair because it's contingent on the electric charge building up. So before, the electric charge built up by you blocking stuff, right? The thing about it now is it doesn't work that way anymore. It builds passively, and there's no way to speed it up. So at the very least, while that move is really powerful and insane, he is locked behind. He has to constantly keep it in the back of his mind how long it's been if his buff is even ready to use yet, right? And therefore, you can kind of, as far as I know now, some people have told me that the buff does not charge if he's blocking. Like, not blocking, but if he's blocking attacks. So it seems like you can prevent his access to it. You can make him less able to use it by being aggressive against him, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So it seems like he kind of punishes you for trying to play passively against him. You can't just turtle against him anymore.
Yeah, because you don't want him
to have that. Which was like a big weakness of his. What'd you say?
Because you don't want him to have them up all the time.
Right, because that was a big problem Raiden had, is you would get the life lead and you would just run away from him because he had no mix of really to speak of unless he used sector and did the overhead. But even then, you would do that once around and then he was down his cameo and you just kind of shadow over him, right? So I think it is a good change. It's annoying. And I understand people who don't like it, but I do think it's a good change for him. Let's see, Reptile. I haven't noticed anything about the Reptile changes, so I'm going to skip over those. Shang Tsung, listen, Shang Tsung's been cracked since the last patch the game had. And I think he's even more cracked now. The problem is he has such a high barrier to entry, I think is the problem. And people just don't want to bother with that, if that makes any sense. Because you have to both know to cast across the board, you have to know what cameo they're using and what move he gets for that, you have to know all these crazy setups that revolve around the transformations. I think he is one of the hardest characters, if not the hardest character in the entire game to play, but I do think he's really good now. He's not a zoner. I know people wanted him to be a zoner. That's obviously not what they want you to do with him. They want you to focus entirely on the morphing, which I think is cool. But yeah, he's so much better now on that front.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters in this game who were supposed to be a zoner and never ended up that way. But I'll say that.
No. Smoke. I'm not going to talk about the change. Basically, his jab string is gapless now, but it's like it's both a buff and a nerf in some ways. Um, like for me, the thing is that Smoke has the highest damage armored launcher in all of MK1, right? And the thing about it was you used your gaffs to bait people so that you could armor them back and then hit them with a 50% armored launcher. Taking that away from his jab string, I'm personally not sure I like that. I'm gonna
Because
be
that
honest.
that means now I would never try to do anything to get out of it. I would just block it. So there's no mind game you can
Right,
do with it.
right. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's a buff. It's only a buff if you're like a smoke scrub who doesn't understand how the character works, which is like 90% of the players that play that character. Um, let's see what else. Oh yeah, they took out the gap as subs 1-2. That's all right, I guess. Um, his back three, I don't think anybody knows what that change did for. They just made it cancel one frame earlier. I haven't seen any new links or anything because of that. Um, oh
Is there
Tanya, yeah, I gotta talk
the
about Tanya.
hold on a second,
I,
please? Is the
yeah,
armor gap for Sub Zero's back 3-4 also, has that also been removed? I think that's what probably it did, but I'm not
oh,
100%.
no, you're right. You're right. That's right. That's right. That's what that did. You're right.
Yeah.
Tanya. I really don't know if I like what they do with this character, dude. Guidance charge no longer having a time limit is kind of crazy to me.
She's still low tier, easily one of the worst characters in the game. Not even close.
But
Maybe I just
how
don't
good
like
is guidance charge though?
changes.
How good is that? How good is guidance charge?
Essentially, look, I know Chernny has all these hot takes, and I respect that. I only care about two things: how well do you do hard unblockables, and how well is your mix. That's the only thing that matters. Out of all these changes, I can probably think of two that actually matter. One is Raidens for obvious reasons, and Rio has already, um, mentioned why. So has
Wait,
Chernny.
you guys want me to link the patch notes to you guys so you can
Wait,
look at
hold
them
on.
too?
But what does Tanya's guidance of do for her? Like, what does
Well,
she get from it?
it gives her the old armor. Like what? It's not still not safe. It essentially like you know how the first hit now staggers Rio before like you got all the hits, and then you
Yeah,
can
if you
make
were going
your
through the whole animation of kicks on the block.
correct. And then she also gains this like teleport like move, but none of this matters because her fireball is complete garbage. Um, she has no mix. She has good footsies, which in this game essentially it's like being the tallest kid in the kindergarten makes no difference. Um,
You wrote the patch notes, by the way, in case you wanted to look at them yourself.
yeah, you can post them in the chat, but essentially she has no mix. For her to be stronger, she would need a much better projectile. It's 25 frames of startup. Like,
Yeah, she has a garbage fireball.
yeah, so her footsies too, like forward two, they did revert that. They nerfed that as well in one of the patches, but they made it 14 frames again, not in this patch, another one a while ago. So essentially she has no mix, very few back throw combos. Um Offense is super limited. If you just like take your time and don't panic, there's really not much she can do to you. At some point she will have to do armor, but keep in mind that she needs the full charge for it to make it safe. She can also make her like fireball travel faster, which again is still not that good with seeking guidance. It's still not that good at all. Imagine playing a very crappy version of Kung Lao with a very crappy fireball, slightly better footsies, and everything else is crap. That's Tanya. Complete waste of a character design. Needs better armor. It shouldn't be safe like it used to be, but it needs to be better. It needs a better fireball. By the way, they increased the damage on the fireball. That was never the issue. The issue that the fireball is just way too slow.
Why is the
How can you have
solution give her armor? Like, I don't. Why do we need to have every character do yellow armor when you get in? I feel like that's what make
no,
the game
we
more
don't. But
annoying.
hold on a second. Well, I mean, that's the way the game works. Do you want a character to do big subs? Okay, they give her an
That's
overhead.
the way the game works. How about you just give her better footsies or a fireball and not just a better armor
Footsies
tag?
do not win in this game. What wins in this game? I'll break it down to you guys. You need a hard to unblockable or an overhead, whatever, or you need some type of Oki that loops, like what Chernny has been doing with Frost. that type of stuff. Or if you're gonna have a defensive character, you need a great fireball backed up with armor. Those are the three things that I've just described make the top 50 characters. Literally every single one of them.
Okay, well, the reason why
Everything else,
footsies don't work is there's not a character that can lock you down in footsies. If you make her footsie moves a lot better, where you're like locked in footsies, then all of a sudden it's like, damn, Tanya kind of good now. But I don't know how people would feel about that.
well, that would slow the game down tremendously, and I think people would hate it. I'm just telling you, like, not necessarily like advocating what I like. I mean, I don't like harder blockers. I don't want more of them. But like, that's what wins in this game. Consistently, you guys have seen this over and over again. Cyrax, Homelander, Reiko, to a lesser extent, Ghostface. I feel like Havoc is one of the few exceptions, but like those are the characters who are actually very strong in this game. Why? For those three aforementioned things that I have just talked about, and there are almost like no exception to those rules. Even a character like who's been clobbered, nerfed, like T1000, still does one of those things. Like he can come in, mix you up, do a lot of damage, put you in an okay situation, mix you up again. Smoke now in the corner with that unblockable vortex is very, very oppressive. That's what wins in this game. There are very few exceptions to that rule. So Tanya, again, to go back to the topic at hand, is very. I don't give a damn about any of her buffs. I just block, then I run away because she has a crap projectile. Or I get in, I mix her up. Like the character needs massive changes to be good again. And yes, armor is one of those. If she's not gonna have good offense.
Okay, so for the rest of this patch, at least as far as the player characters go, the only other two things that I think are all notable here are the changes to Homelander. He got, in my opinion, he got nerfed pretty significantly, and I don't even know what they were thinking in making his armor even worse. If they thought that they were buffing his armor, I'm sorry. He's like a sitting duck now whenever he does that shit. To the point now where you can't even rely on doing the armor in Nefera anymore. So I don't know what they were thinking with that. They hit his command grab damage again, which I think is, I think that is a good change, but it's starting to come to the point, in my opinion, where Homelander is like he's eventually going to be shown to be overrated, I think. Because he's got notable weaknesses the other top tiers don't have right now. He's got a shitty wake up. They keep nerfing his command grab game over and over again. I think now he's up to like a maximum of 17% off the command throw when he used to do like 24-5. Is that right? Something like that. The other thing is that they buffed the duration of noobs install, but I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. I think Embrace Chaos needs to be a 20-second install instead of 14, which is what it is now, was 10. But I think the penalty for failing to kill somebody before that wears off is so severe. I just think it needs to be 20 or even more. I think it's very strange that they won't commit to that. Now, as far as the cameos go, Cyrax, like, they just made the choppers have less cooldown. That's good, but I don't know how much that improves anything. Frost is, well, yeah, it's like Dave said, Frost, with certain characters, especially Smoke, is kind of cracked right now. To the point where I think, like, she's like a sub-meta cameo, she's not like one of the top tier picks, but she's like, if your character doesn't synergize to like Striker or something, if it synergizes with Frost, you're alright, I guess is what I'm saying. But especially with Smoke Frost is, in my opinion, it's one of the best teams in the game right now. It's like top 7 or 8 for sure, but it might be a top 5 team in the whole game. He literally is quite literally unblockable looping you. And if you guess wrong, he gets to go again. He gets to make you guess twice before the orb disappears. So, Frost is crazy. Goro, I don't know. I think they need to give Goro standard health. I think that's all he needs. The KO change, to me, seems useless. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking that would do. Doing more damage and no gravity scaling. because the way those knives work, I don't know. I just don't see anything improving from that. They made Serena a true invulnerable wake up, which I like. I like it that they keep adding more to that. You know, we have Sub Shoulder, Frost, Ice Crash, Serena Demon Dance. There's a few others, but I can't think of it. The Scorpion changes whatever to me. The Striker change where he takes more damage when hit during rapid fire is good. And Farah taking more any damage when hit in the air stance is good. But like I think the patch is more good than bad, but it's also mostly inconsequential, I think. I think Dave would agree with me about that.
Yeah, the aside from the stuff that I just mentioned, well, not just me. I don't want to make this about myself. I think Cherney is fair. The real you too, like the Raiden stuff, right? You said that you when you played the game, it was all about that one shocker. That meta is gone. I believe he's good now. Close to top tier. I don't think he's quite top tier, but he's good again for different reasons. The Frost stuff, like Cherney said, is kind of like the Sub Zero. Like it's kind of like the Sub Zero territory. Like it's mostly like a hidden cameo pick, but I feel like it's we've seen obviously Smoke players use Frost, Quan Chi players. That wake up invincibility matters. Um, but yeah, other than that, like I think it's the patch is mostly inconsequential. It's still mostly incredibly offensive. The game is unbelievably offensive, not as much as Mortal Kombat X, but yeah, if you play Quan Chi, you're still screwed. Shang Tsung is still very weak. Um, Peacemaker still needs way more buffs. That armor should be a mid. So yeah, I mean, in fact, when you play the game, it could honestly feel even more offensive with the because not too many, but a couple, like maybe two or three characters have some of those frost setups. Smoke is probably the best one. I agree with Cherney. So yeah, you just kind of feel like you got butt fucked again if you are like Cowboy quit the game, never wants to touch it again. I mean, why would you if you're a Crunchy player? Like
Yeah.
because offense got even worse. So it's not again. It did very little aside from the Serena. Um, the what is it up cameo buff, having complete invincibility, but yeah, other than that you feel like it's just like more of the same. I still think Homelander is very very strong. um I believe they increased the armor going up, but you know but instead you cannot call the Farah assist, but it's still I feel like most characters cannot crush that armor now unless you're maybe like Cyrax, Kung Lao. I still feel like he's very, very strong. And guys, just please, I know a lot of you hate the game. Just watch the tournaments and see kind of what happens. And if you watch the Brazilian ones, the Brazilian players, I feel like they're playing the game at the highest level. Holman is still very, very. It's just like more of the same. Again, mostly offensive game with very few, if any, zoning options. That's the way I perceive this game.
I would say, and this could be biased because the character I play, and maybe you'll agree, Dave. I think if there's like a big winner of this patch, though, it would probably with Smoke. He's probably the one that benefited the most out of the whole thing.
Yeah, Smoke, Raiden. Um, I don't know who else you would say. I do again not to completely downplay the Peacemaker, like less cooldown on the Eagly. That actually is, uh, you can actually feel the difference. It's perceivable. But yeah, I don't see a lot of this. Like some of the cooldown reductions are like on Cyrax on Go right. You can barely even feel them. They're completely irrelevant. If there's another patch, I hope to see more buffs to characters like Peacemaker, Quan Chi. I don't know what else they can do with Shang Tsung. If they're gonna like make us play against like loopable corner pressure, you have to make defense better. You have to make zoning better. Do not let this game uh, have worse defense than Mortal Kombat X. When you nerf armor, that would be a major
Look,
mistake.
I
I
don't
just
want to
hope
go
Rob.
there, but you cannot have better defense when you have certain mechanics in place that are functioning the way they are. You have up block, you have delay wake up. Because of those two terribly designed mechanics, you cannot ask for better defense until those get removed, and then you get to ask for things that would benefit defense more. But because the reason why defense is the way it is because you have mechanics like up block and delay wake up. They're too scrubby. They're too easy. Why? In their eyes, they're probably like, you guys have just uplock or just delay wake up. Like, you guys don't need much more than that. It's kind of is what it is situation. That's what happens when you have these like band-aid mechanics in place.
Those mechanics are not that strong defensively because of the cameo system. And before I know we get into the older, the previous discussion, um, we cannot say, well, the characters themselves. Nobody cares about the characters themselves. It's a cameo-based game. That's the way it should be analyzed, and that's how I analyze it. Are bigger
But
buttons an
you're
issue?
not understanding the point I just said. You can't be going to like give better defense, better answers. It's not. They're just gonna say just uplock. Don't you see?
I never mentioned. I think anti-airs are fine. I don't have an issue with the anti-airs. My
Right, but I'm
issues are
saying
not.
all the people that do want to go to anti-airs, they can't ask for that because NRS will just response will be just uplock.
Well, those people are factually wrong because people in this game are not losing because the anti-airs are bad. They're losing because they're getting unblockably looped by certain characters. That's what wins in this
And
game.
again, if this game didn't have delay wake up, we probably wouldn't have a lot of characters doing hard unblockables because they would probably be changed to do other things. But because
I
we have
understand
the
that, but-
delay wake up system and how the game works, this is what we have the game with the offense because that's you need brain dead offensive hard unblockables like that to match the brain dead wake up system. That's the issue.
No, I don't think I don't think the wake up system is brain dead at all. I think it's perfectly justified.
You don't think tapping L2 on the controller to sometimes delay them missing a meaty and then getting a full combo is brain dead? Because it takes no effort on their part to do that.
I cannot speak for all the characters. I'll just briefly speak for mine. With Kung Lao, I don't care. It's really irrelevant.
Right, because you have a homing missile.
Well, it's not even okay. And Havoc, same thing. I'll call grenades. You can wake up if you want, and you can press buttons. I'll do 50. Please wake up again. I've won rounds against Chernny, and I say this respectfully. He just tried to mash up. Like, yeah, go ahead, do it. I'll do 50. Do it again. He did, and he lost. It was a perfect. It was a flawless.
But Dave,
victory.
you saying you have ways around. I'm not saying there's no way around the wake up system. I'm saying look at what you need to do. You need to have a sector missile on the screen or a striker throwing grenades because you knock somebody down and the person you knock down has no cameo, no metering, no nothing. They just have access to press L2 on the controller. Do you understand how like ridiculous that sounds?
Not really. I mean, that's the game.
And you're asking for more defense when you have stuff like that available 24/7?
I don't perceive this game to be to have an abundance of defense. I don't see how anybody come to that conclusion.
I'm not saying the game has an abundance of defensive options. I'm saying the defensive options that are in place in the game right now are so scrubby and brain dead that even asking NRS to give more, they would look at you and laugh, be like, bro, we already gave you 2 super easy defensive options. You guys are good.
Scrubby, it's the offense in this game. How can you equate
Yes, the offense is scrubby as well because the defensive moves are scrubby. Don't you understand? They have to match each other. Because we have such scrubby defensive options, they gave us scrubby offensive options. That's literally the game. If we didn't have scrubby delay wake up or uplock, then the offense would have probably been made in a different way to require more skill. That's just how it is.
I don't care about the skill.
When you have scrubby defensive options, you need scrubby offensive options to match it.
Can you please stop saying these words that mean nothing? I don't care about scrubby.
You know what the word scrubby means. You know exactly what it means.
I don't care about scrubby, easy or not. Name anything else. I don't care. I'm just analyzing the game it is. If you don't like it, don't play it.
Right, but look, I'm not saying you're right or wrong or no. I'm saying there's a reason why NRS has not budged into all of a sudden pouring these new defensive options in the game with patches. It's because you guys literally have delay, wake up, and upblock.
Yes,
and you're not understanding how scrubby those 2 options are in terms of defense, Dave. Like, you're not getting it. At any time in this game, if someone jumps at you and they decide to commit to their jumping, and you decide to tap up while blocking, you get a 50% combo. How is that not strong to you?
It is strong. I told you that was strong.
Then
2 months ago.
Why do you think they're not adding more defensive options? Because you have shit like that.
I'm not even necessarily saying add more invincibility. Hell, they don't even have to add armor. I understand people like you that they don't have to deal with it, but like, at least give us better zoning options.
I know how to deal with armor. I just don't like the mechanic, but I know how to deal with it.
Okay, then you don't want to add better. You don't want to add more armor. Fine. You don't want to add more invincibility.
Because
fine.
Here's the problem: once you start adding more armor and invincibility everywhere, then NRS is going to be like, now that we added all this, we got to kind of match it. Now these other characters, harder blockables, more unblockables. Like, do we really want the game to go down that path to be just extra scrubby?
Tanya, maybe you'll agree with this, since you don't agree with anything else, and you want to protect the offense of this game. Can we? Why does
I don't
Tanya have
even
like?
like 50-50s or hard to block. I hate 50-50s hard to block balls. When I'm not defending
Why
it.
does a character like Tanya have a 25 frame projectile? It's completely
I'll
useless.
tell you
Guys,
why.
that's
I'll
how.
tell you why. Because her original design was a character that every time you went anywhere near her, you had to block an armor attack. That's why she didn't have the best projectiles. Once
The
they've
original
removed that
design.
because people hated that design, she was left with her other tools that were in place because of how she was designed originally. That's why the character ended up being terrible. Because once you take away the one thing that the character was designed to do, she has nothing left. The character was just made to do
original
armor
design.
nonstop. That was her
The
design.
original design was almost 2 years ago. Like the
But you're
problem was not
asking why does she have bad strings or arm or fireballs? It's because
a
her
lot
original
of.
design was to do armor 24/7. That's why I didn't want to give her other tools.
Yeah, welcome to 2 years ago. I
No,
understand
this
that.
is what happens when you design a game to be a little brain dead. Instead of us, how about instead of us asking for next MK game being just armor or delay wake up or hard unblockables, we ask for more depth to be in the character design and everything. So we don't have to have this one shallow, one dimensional game plan where characters can't be changed too much because it's like, but you can't because you have armor nonstop, or you can't because you do hard unblockables all the time. Like it's just, I think we need to put that to rest.
I don't mind out of blockers. I don't mind 50-50 mix-ups. I think all that stuff belongs in a fighting game. If you like to play
Bro,
that way,
you're saying you don't mind them, but you're like, but we need changes. This game is just hard unblockables. We need more defensive options. And meanwhile, you have two of the most brain defensive options ever created: delay, wake up, and uplock.
Again, I don't care what's easy or not. That doesn't concern me. I'm just saying what's winning and what the game is about. I never even called a lot of the stuff in MK11 scrubby, I believe, even though it was worse. But fine, you
Dave, you're
like
not
that?
understanding. I'm not saying your opinion's bad or you're wrong. I'm telling you why NRS will most likely not be adding all these new defensive mechanics for the reason I just told you. Because
I didn't
uplock and
mention.
delay wake up are really good and they're in the game. That's why.
I don't think they're good at all.
You
Block
don't
is
think
good as
delay
an
wake
answer.
up and uplock is good?
No.
Then why do you rely on
I
it every
think-
time you play?
Well, why does Cyrus rely on unblockable loops? Because
Dave, you
I
can't
don't
tell me a
know.
mechanic isn't good, but then you're literally using it when I play against you.
what does that mean? I'm using it.
But-
I'm also using
So is the
breakaway
mechanic good or not, bro? Like, if it wasn't good, why would you be using it? What is this conversation?
because it's in the game. You use what's in the game. What does that even
But
mean?
if it was bad, then you wouldn't be using it even if it's in the game.
I never call it bad. I'm saying it's in the game, so obviously it has uses.
So it's
This
good
game is
then?
not like
So
Yeah,
the
of course it's good.
So the mechanic's good then.
when did I say it was bad?
Bro, I'm done with this conversation.
Anyway, the game needs better defense because characters like Cyrax and now Smoke, and to a lesser extent Homelander and Reiko and Ghostface. Like when you guys watch people play the game for money, if you still watch the game, that's what people are using. They're putting you in these ridiculous situation where you're delaying wake up. Oh my god, let's cry about it like Rio is. Like it makes no difference.
Okay, you know what? Let me say this. If I watch any tournament for this game, you're telling me I will never ever see someone get uplocked or see somebody delay wake up into a combo ever? Is that what you're telling me right now?
When did I say ever?
Oh, so now they're good. So wait, top players are using them in tournaments that you're talking about? Because you're over here throwing shots saying, oh my
I
god,
don't
we were
wanna
crying
hear-
about delay wake up. It's not good. It's not a problem. Are people can people ever win in tournaments doing those mechanics? Yes or no?
You defended MK11's wake up system for 2 years. I don't know.
What does
I
this
don't
have
wanna
to do
hear-
with MK11? We're talking about MK1.
because you lack consistency. Be consistent for once in your life.
What
on
in
this
the
podcast.
world? So you want me to talk about something that happened 7 years ago in a different game for why people are losing tournaments in the games today for uplock and delay wake up? What does this have to do with that?
Uplock is a great defensive mechanic. I have always told you that. Why?
That's
why
what
would
I'm
I be
trying to
against-
tell you, Dave. It's a good defensive option, actually better than you think. However, you for some reason are ignoring that fact and are like, why is NRS not giving us defensive options? Because you have shit like uplock and delay wake up. NRS even realizes it. That's why they're not giving you a bunch of new defensive options with patches. Do you now understand?
I didn't request new defensive mechanic. I think certain characters, mostly the so-called zoning characters in this game. I'm not even zoning. I mean, it's even a joke to call them a zoning character. But
Dave,
Peacemaker
okay,
needs
look.
better
I don't want to go in
projectiles.
circles with this, but let me just say this, and then you can continue with this conversation or whatever the next topic. But what I'm saying is the reason why there's no power zoners, or why they're adding these new crazy zoners in these games, is because again, let me tell you again, because when you play against these super crazy good zoners that they may add, then you have to deal with up block into 50% combos or delay wake up. So they understand that. So they're not trying to design characters that do all that. Because then when you get in on them, it'd be annoying as hell. When you finally get in on that zoner once out of the 50-second match, because they have really good zoning now you have to deal with delay wake up or not. That would make people not want to play the game. Like, I know you don't understand this, but it would.
That game is called MK11. This game is not
Oh my
that.
god, what does this have to do with MK11? Okay, I'm done. I can't have a conversation with you because you never stay on the point. You never stay on the point.
So, speaking of, since we're here, I know this is kind of off topic to what you wanted to talk about, Rio, but you want to give me like I want to hear because I know you don't think that a block isn't just not only good, but you think it's like a scrubby mechanic, right? Like I think it's good. I'm obviously not gonna deny that, but
yes.
Like, what is your beef with Upblock? I had to hear this.
Okay, so the problem I have with Upblock is one, it's way too easy to do. Like to perform, to execute, way too easy. It's so easy, as a matter of fact, that I get that shit out by accident sometimes when I'm blocking trying to jump out, which annoys me. Like the input needs to be changed. It cannot just be hold block and tap up. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. You get it by accident.
Wait though. What is your beef with it being like too easy? Like, what do you say? You think like
Chernny,
from
you
like
can.
a high level play skill level point of view, you think it's too easy?
It's too easy to perform for the reward you get. You literally have to block there. If you see someone jump, if you decide to literally tap up and rub your controller, you will get a 50% combo. That is crazy. The fact that you get more damage off doing that than you would if you do like an anti-air jab or roundhouse in this game. You get more damage doing the easier option. Like, it makes no sense.
Wait. You gotta fool me with this.
Chernny,
Chernny, hold on. Your mic's messed up. Chernny, your mic's messed up.
How about now?
It's better.
Let me slightly increase your volume. Okay, go ahead.
You gotta go fool me with this, Rio. In MKX, if you got anti-air jabs, you're losing like 50%. I mean, depending on the character, but you definitely lost like 36 to 50. It's that the difference is.
Wait, which game?
In MKX.
Yeah, but I'm talking to MK1. If I go to anti-air jab or kick someone Omni-Man, I get less damage than I would just by up-blocking. So why shouldn't I just up-block? If I think they're gonna...
But
Chernny, can I say this real quick? Chernny?
Yeah.
Ria used to smirk to me privately. Come on, gets to enter you, anyone on the screen with a spin and on.
First of all, I never talked like that in private. And second of all, what did you just say? I used to do what cabal? 20 years ago? What happened?
20 years ago, not literally like, I don't know, like last month or two ago, you literally used to tell me like, dude, with cabal, the spin is so scrubby, you can literally, like, if they just think about jumping, you can spin whatever, flash anyone on the screen, you get massive damage because the anti-air is so easy.
You're talking about UMK3 cabal spin.
Correct.
Yes, it's a super branded anti-air. You can't jump at all, and it answers you for 59%.
Well,
meterless.
You used to ejaculate to that very recently, and then
I used to ejaculate to that. What are you talking about?
Human spoke about Ermac, all these top tiers in Ultimate who do so much damage when you jump, but now that, and it's another game, a game you deemed grubby, like now we have to listen to you.
Dave, can you stop before you make everybody listening to this lose IQ? First of all, UMK3 is a whole different game. You don't have to jump in the game. Second of all, in UMK3, I never said Cabal's anti is amazing. I said it's super scrubby. It's so dumb that you can almost, if anyone crosses you up, whatever, you just back forward spin them 59%. I never defended that. I don't think new games need that. That's actually the brain that it kind of anti you don't want. So what the hell are you talking about? Why would you even bring that up?
You bragged about the high damage output in that game when you jumped. Did you not?
I said if you play against Cabal in this game, you literally cannot jump. Like, it's removed from your options. You have to just play on the ground. But how's that bragging about? I was telling you how the character works. Like, jumping is deleted versus Cabal. How is that me defending the mechanic and saying it's good? We don't need autopilot anti-airs where your character can never leave the ground and you eat 60%. That's bad kind of anti-airs.
Okay, Rio. So
what is Dave even talking about?
Rio, here's my problem. The difference is, in MK1, let's say in the games where let's do the anti-air jabs, or like the big anti-air, you can't do much at all. It's unless it's a character specific option to stop or ban anti-air jab. In MK1, you can empty jump low. You can get a throw combo. Like, dude, if they up block and you empty jump, you also get 50% on them. What's the problem? There's like
Chernny, no, I don't think you understand, bro. People are doing like, okay, I feel like I have to make a video about this so people could understand because I showed in training mode. So what people are doing in Combat League is when you jump at them, they're doing the fake up block where they don't really want to up block because they're pussy, so they don't actually want to get punished for it. They're doing the short up block and timing it. So if you come in with a jump in, they're gonna get clipped and then you get full comboed. But if you go for an empty jump, you cannot actually punish them. They can take your throwing time or block the low. This is the problem. So all they have to do to fix that is make the up block be long, Chernny. That's why it's badly designed. They're doing the short up block. Your mic's messed up again, Chernny.
Chernny,
Your mic is messed up again.
It's just not
Chernny,
true.
your mic is messed up. We can't hear what you're saying. It's like all staticky. By the way, welcome, Tom. Tom just joined everybody.
Yeah, Tom, welcome to the podcast.
Now.
It's still staticky. Sorry,
yeah.
my friend.
Okay, how about now?
Okay, it's better now.
Okay, so the problem is, Rio, I've played like 3,000 hours of the game, and so I know this is not true. There is no situation.
We literally labbed it on. You want to make a video of it? I labbed it with Omni-Man. When I jumped, they did it short delay. They could at the same time hunt the anti-air up block, but also recover in time but when I landed to not get punished by my back four or my throw.
What was the knockdown though? It depends on the knockdown.
Bro, I'm talking about me jumping at them. No knockdown.
Oh, you're
just
talking about
in neutral, yes. My point is, why does short... But hold on, if up block is this amazing mechanic you guys are praising, then get rid of the short block and let us all up block. So when you do it, you're staying in the air for 3 seconds. Why not? Shouldn't you get punished for making the wrong read?
So wait a minute. Rio was... Guys, we had to listen to at this point for years. And Tom can, if he's honest, can finally attest to this. How jumping is scrubby in Mortal Kombat X, or jumping is scrubby in Justice 2, or jumping is scrubby in Injustice 1, how jumping is scrubby in 11,
Dave,
in MK11.
just because I complained about jumping in other games being scrubby does not mean I want a scrubby brained anti-air. Why can't we have anti-airs actually
I don't care what's scrubby or not. I'm judging the game the way it is. You either play, you do not. So thank God. Yes.
But apparently you don't want to talk about the game the way it is because you have all these like random ass things that have nothing to do with the game. We're bringing like 10 other games when we're talking about MK1.
Most of my buffs are just actually very minor, actually. They're not
So
like...
what you're saying is we need short up block because God forbid somebody reads you doing it and you get punished every time. That's bad, right? It's bad for the game,
Jumping
apparently?
in this game, unlike what the haters say, is actually not that strong at all. And thank God it's not, because their buffs, defense...
You want to know why it's not strong?
Anyway,
because people just have to block and tap up and they get a 50% combo.
Yeah,
That's why people aren't trying to jump like that.
yeah, thank God. So, yes.
So wait, I don't get it though. So are you saying that it was fine what was happening with anti-air jabs in previous games?
No, yeah, yes, okay.
Bro, what I don't understand is this. Why would you guys want to make the game more brain dead? We don't need a mechanic to give us anti-airs. Fighting games have had basic waste anti-airs since the beginning of time. How about instead of having this wasted new mechanic that's not needed, we go back to having the way anti-airs work, and then we could have other new interesting mechanics.
Remember when I was complaining about...
MK1 was great anti-airs though.
Chernny, you got
It's just obviously the temptation to up block is there because the reward is higher, but it comes with actual risk, unlike say an anti-air jab from MK1.
There would be no risk, no Chernny.
Chernny doesn't understand about the short... Wait, hold on.
Every character is doing combos in the throws. If there were no combos in the throws, there would be no fucking risk. And combos in the throws is also fucking stupid, governed by a stupid assist mechanic, which, by the way, I went to the cemetery and it saw MK1 coroner report assist. That's what caused the death of Mortal Kombat. So nobody likes the assist mechanic. It causes more problems than it whatever. Up block or anti-airs, I guess that comes down to preference, but here's the problem. I've never heard an argument over is jab anti-airing good. Everyone realized that's part of fighting games. These gimmicky mechanics cause arguments, whereas the simple solution doesn't.
Actually, that's 100%
Jab,
false.
DP, whatever, anti-air, that's fine. Just like people, it's subjective. And I'm sounding like Dave here, and I'm making Dave's points for him when I say things good or bad. He says it's
Not
subjective.
quite though.
But
It's
Tom, there was a
subjective.
whole
If you are
conversation in the
Journey,
Street
stop for a
Fighter
second.
community
If you
about
are someone,
anti-air jab.
Let him, guys.
Ja-
Let him finish, please. Let him
if
finish.
you are someone who it's the same argument. Like, oh, well, anti-air jabbing, that's scrubby. Oh, up blocking, that's scrubby. It's the same argument. You guys both use the same argument to defend both points. One is
But Tom,
scrubby, the
Tom,
other is
Tom,
scrubby.
my friend, I never use those terms, and I try to stay away. It's real, like
Not you, but like the
constantly.
Czerny
No, it's not
stuff
even
with
churny.
one
No,
thing is
it's not
scrubby
even
and not.
churny. Tom, it's not churny. With all due respect, my friend, I'll let you finish. I promise. I'm sorry for interrupting you, because I know you've been waiting. Nobody's using those terms. I don't even care about scrubby or not. Just play the game as this is, right? Like
Well,
you want.
what's the problem with jab anti-airs, Czerny?
Yeah, anti-air is because it's too low commitment and there's usually no way to bait it out in the games it's present in. I mean, there was a whole, it's Street Fighter 5, right? There was a whole balance discussion around the existence of jab anti-airs because it was low commitment, there was no way to bait it out, and not only in that game, because it put them in a flip out state, you got a 50-50 compared to just a regular DP reward, which lost you Oki right when you DP'd. So in Street Fighter, we eventually agreed, okay, we don't want to ever have jam anti-airs ever again. And so Capcom has made an effort to make sure that it doesn't exist. Jab anti-airs, as far as I know, as far as them being a normal thing, that's NLS only for as long as
Okay,
I've
well, let me
lived.
ask you this. I want to answer from Czerny. Dave, would you agree that an MK9 was probably the most zone-heavy Mortal Kombat game in the NRS era?
If you include injustice, if you exclude
No,
injustice,
a Mortal Kombat game only.
yeah.
Okay, and many of the zoners in that game are an example that people look at as broken, right? At broken NRS zoning. Not people talk about Deadshot, but that's injustice. So Dave, is it true or not true? You played a character that would run away, one of the most powerful zoners ever, and you would run away from me, and my character was especially susceptible to zoning, correct?
Yeah,
And Mortal Kombat 9 had jab anti-airs, correct?
yeah.
How is it possible that I was able to fight someone like Dave using Freddy, a smart, disciplined zoner, running away zoning, and saying, I just won't jump, hence I don't get hit by stupid projectiles or jab anti-air? See, Czerny, you're saying, I mean, you don't need to jump. What you're talking about is this era wanting easy way in. We want to be able to jump in, but we want to be able to have some type of mind game when we jump in because we jumped. Why should it be as simple as you expected us to jump, you saw us jumping, now all you have to do is jab? Why can't you expect to jump? I know you're expecting me to jump, so I will jump, and then there's this mind game going on. No, bitch, if I read you jumping and you jumping, you lose. Welcome to real life. That's fighting games. That's what they are. Period. There should be no, but what is my option here? And is that mentality that has not just Mortal Kombat hurt fighting games to the point that that mindset is a direct conflicting mindset with kind of the way fighting games used to be. And this is why we see this kind of clash of ideologies, not just in Mortal Kombat, but in Tekken and other games. We have kind of the old school way of thinking, mistake, punish, and the new school way of thinking, but why can't I make it look like a mistake? Then there's this baiting mind game going on. And all that is a fancy way of saying, why should a mistake be a mistake? Can't I just make it a mind game? No. An up block does that. It is scrubby in some ways. Yes, there's a baiting mechanic to it. But the main gripe to traditional anti-airs that I'm hearing is, where's my counterplay? Czerny, I got good counterplay. Don't jump. Because I can promise you right now, if Czerny with that mindset had to go up against Dave's Freddy, and he would jump, he would get anti-aired, and he would say, see, there's no mind game. Where someone like myself could go up against powerful zoning and move around without ever leaving the ground. And if I left the ground and I was read and punished for it, I certainly wouldn't think, man, I need some mind game. It's just two schools of thinking that are colliding and both think their ideology is right. That's kind of the problem. That's why there's no give.
Tom, I don't. Here's the thing: I don't even necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but the problem with what you're saying here is, in that case, why even put a jump in a fighting game at all?
Because you can still jump, but if someone knows you're going to jump and they read it, you get no mind game. It's over. Get punished.
Okay, well, I understand that, but I think in the MK1 you do get that. If someone does a bad jump, they can. You just go for the up block because it comes with risk at higher reward. Compared to
it does not come at
Javi
risk
or
at higher
whatever.
level. It does not. It does not. You're wrong. You jump against Jackson MK9 and he has 3 bars. You lost. Jab, 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 boom, into the ender, into EX ground pound, jab, 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 ender, EX ground pound. It's over. You lost. Or even in open space, unbreakable. Jab, 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 ender, 3 EX ground pound, 30+% on top of the combo, unbreakable. No.
Tom and Chernny.
That's a solid game, though. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad design, in my opinion.
My issue is,
Chernny, I could say your decision was bad and you paid the price. It's not bad design. Chernny, you want to jump and then play rock, paper, scissors for who won that exchange.
Well, no. See, I would get this, though. Like, so this conversation started because, like, we were talking about the up block from the perspective that Rio thinks it's scrubby because he doesn't like the guy on the ground having the up block option, right? And I'm coming at it from the point of view of, like, I don't even use up block in MK1 myself. I usually do jab anti-air, right? But because I don't want to get punished for going for the up block. But it is like a player expression thing, and I come at it from the view of the guy who's jumping. I don't mind that I can get consistently punished for jumping, and that's not a complaint I have. But that does seem to be a complaint that others have because they don't like the up block for that reason. They don't like it that you could just tap up and eat 50% because you made a bad jump, right?
Why is it that what is the problem with jab anti-air? Rio's point is not on jumping. If that's what you think, then you're not listening to him. Rio's point has always been you don't need a separate mechanic for anti-airs when you can just have anti-airs.
You do, actually. You do. Because each game... Chernny, let me respond, please. Because in a game of, like, dive kicks that juggle, an elbow drop that literally, like, lands on top of your head. For example, even something that's not as impressive in the tower's dive kick, for example, Sub-Zero's dive kick, etc., etc. Yeah, it's necessary for defensive options. And no, you cannot always anti-air jab that with a jab or even with an uppercut. My problem is actually not with Tom or Chernny. It's with Rio, who's been inconceivably hypocritical on this topic. For somebody who used to complain about anti-airs for like the past 2-3 years, maybe even more so, going back to as far as Injustice 1. Now, yes, the jumping, I don't care about scrubby, whatever you call it. Those terms are subjective and mean feces to me. I care the fact that when you jump, you are at a disadvantage. Why? Because of what Chernny said. You can eat 50% at any time. Isn't that a good thing? Why are we complaining about this mechanic? Now, you can say, look, man, it's a great mechanic, but I personally disagree with it. I'm on, the traditional Mortal Kombat 9 anti. So I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. What
Rio's complaining about is you only eat 50% if you guess right on the up block. The reason why you need to up block, because anti-airing still is not as consistent as it needs to be. So what happens is somebody jumps, and if you always had the option to anti-air them, there would never be a situation in which you have to guess empty jump or attack. If it's attack, I'll up block. If it's empty jump, I'll jab out of the air. However, more times than not, if it's jump and attack and I think empty jump and I go to anti-air, I get hit and comboed. If I read a jump in and go to up block and they go to empty jump, I get punished. The person on the ground should, I'm going to repeat, 0.0% of the time, barring execution error, be punished for reading a jump and going to punish it. The person in the air, outside of a specialty character that has like a dive kick or a teleport like Kung Lao, those are few or far between, should never, ever have any option except to pray to God that the opponent did not read the anti-air or misexecuted. That's it. You should have no, and what Rio was saying is sometimes someone knows you're going to jump, they guessed properly on the jump, but then I have to guess again while you're in midair. What's it going to be? Empty jump or attack? That should not exist. The only option you should have when I read that is you lost next round. And Chernny has a problem with that. Which,
well, yeah, because I like infinite complexity in games. That's why. So, yeah, I don't like situations.
you like games with complexity? You like games with complexity?
Yeah, I don't like games that have a solved wall to them.
Chernny, just don't fucking jump then when I read it. Is that hard?
That's not. I don't have any complaint like what you're suggesting, though, and I don't even know if you got Rio's problem right. Rio, from my understanding, Rio does not like it that someone can just tap up and give 50%. He's not complaining about the mind game per se.
Yes, that's look. It's a lot of things. I hate the fact that it's so easy to do. It's brain dead to do. You get 50%. But Chernny doesn't even know how up block works in the game because I said this 20 times in the beginning, but he wasn't listening. People in Combat League, this is what they're doing. When you jump at them, they're doing a short up block, which shouldn't exist. You should have long up blocks. So that way, when you read it, you actually get punished. Don't you like that, Chernny? You like making, complex guesses and that's how it should be. The problem is people in Combat League are doing. But hold on.
I know that the short up block exists.
But you're not understanding why it makes it unbearable, Chernny. They're doing a short up block, timing it with your jump in perfectly, so that if you come in with a jump in, it's going to trigger their up block. It's going to hit in the last act of frame. But if you go to an empty jump, by the time you land, they recover from the short up block, and they can tech your throw or block your sweep. This is the problem. So if you want to keep up block the way it is, fine, a scrubby, easy to mechanic, then come off short up block. Make it long only, so that every time you make the right read, you get punished.
Okay, Rio. We're going to solve this here in a minute. I'm installing MK1 on my PC as we speak. I will stream to the Discord chat and I will show you the way you were saying it's not true.
I literally already showed my stream this 2 weeks ago when I was ranting about how dumb upblock was. I already showed it to them. They already know how it works. I recorded myself doing a sweet spot timed short upblock. And then I recorded Omni-Man doing 4 options. Doing an empty jump with a kick, or landing instantly going sweep, landing instantly going throw. I could cover all 4 options by doing short up block if I time it properly. That is the problem. That needs to be removed. It's scrubby.
See, as far as I know, that's not possible. Except against certain characters, maybe, because maybe their jump arc is bad, or their jump speed is terrible. But I can tell you, I know... I don't know why you're so weird. I'm ignorant here. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I know the short up block exists. But if I'm playing Smoke, I cannot be short up blocked. That's just not a thing.
Okay, well, against, I guess, my character, I have to deal with that brain dead mechanic in that way.
And I can prove that. I can, so if you want me to, later, I'll make a video about it, and I will show you, at least in the case of Smoke, that he does not have to deal with that.
I mean, the reality is...
Okay, but I don't use Smoke. I'm talking about my character that I've been playing.
No, I understand what you're saying. And I agree, it's kind of silly if it turns out that that's not a universal thing. Yeah, I agree.
So what is the problem with making up block be you actually do the mechanic? You look in the air for 3 seconds.
I mean, do we really think up block is the culprit of what caused MK1?
I mean, the mechanic in general is garbage, but the fact that you can even do short up block and in areas like that not be punished and hunt a 50% combo is idiotic design, in my opinion.
Yeah, Rio wants to go back to the design where you have the most defense when you're on the ground, and when you have the most defense.
You already have that in this game. You short delay. Dave, how many times did I short delay on you in full combo when we played? When you were talking about delay isn't a problem. Dude, people can watch the set. Most of the times you came in with a sector homing missile, I got up in full combo with you. Want to know why? Because I tapped L2 on the controller laying down. You
Yeah,
told me it
how many
wasn't a
times
problem. Yet I was hitting you with it, and you were like, I had 3,000 hours in the game, but you're still getting hit by that shit.
I did, but how many times did you get hit because you tried to move and
Because
you
sometimes I
ate
try
for
to
it?
do it with your homing missile. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
my
that's
point
the
is, I
game.
should never be able to get up and do that to you into a 40% combo. That's
Well,
dumb.
there's a lot of stuff that should not be happening in fighting games that should happen. A lot of the stuff that you defended in the past, now apparently you're against. But the point
Bro,
is,
Dave's like
uh,
whole point is, hey, we're talking about this issue right now, but let's not talk about the issue right now. We have to talk about something 7 years ago that was said. Like, are you really on that?
well, aren't you about holding people accountable, like people like Tom and
Apparently,
me? And
you are. Where did I hold you and Tom accountable this episode? Where did I do that?
not in this episode, but in many others, you try to.
So it was in the last episode. I mentioned something you guys said 7, 10 years ago in a game, and that's why we can't talk about the topic now in this game.
But we can't. Well, at least I will not speak for Tom. We constantly.
I guess you don't want to talk about MK1 that much if you need to talk about every other game.
I like. There's nothing to do. I mean, I'll tell you what I like about MK1.
Dave, you
and
mentioned 4 other games 4 times today while we're talking about issues in MK1. What does that have to do with MK1 issues?
I think is one of the best modern mechanics designed. Let me just finish, Tom. You can respond, and maybe Tom, you can get your opinion. I love uplock. Delay mechanic, I don't defend. I'm just saying it's a necessary evil in this game. Guys, again, play this game without a delay mechanic. You will be dealing with unblockables.
Nobody's saying the offense is scrubby as well. It's a lot of things. It's just for some reason you don't want to talk about the specific scrubby tactic that we're talking about.
I don't care. I know everything in this game is scrubby. I understand that.
I never said everything, but bro, like this is so dumb. I'm so tired of having to walk on eggshells whenever we talk about MK1. This whole eggshell walk around, don't say anything is too broken or this snap. But when we talk about previous MK games that you like to mention, it's okay to talk about how bad the mechanic was this snap, but we can't do it for MK1. Why?
No,
what is that? What is that?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. At least I presented a nuanced argument. So, okay, up lock is scrubby, delay wake up is scrubby, armor is scrubby, offense is scrubby.
You're the one complaining about hard unblockables. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, it is scrubby, but I'm not even complaining about that. I'm trying to complain about these 2 things first, but we can't even move past that because you have to bring up a bunch of other things that don't have nothing to do with this topic right now. We can't even talk about this current topic of upblocking.
That term means nothing to me. All I'm saying is that, in my personal opinion, I like the uplock. I think it's a great mechanic. Delay wake up, I'm not a huge fan of.
I understand you like it, but we're discussing, is it a scrubby brain-dead mechanic or not?
I don't know what that means. No, it's not scrubby.
You don't know what scrubby means.
No, I know what it means in your delusional head and mine. But I like the mechanic as is. I think you should come back and.
It's okay for you to like a mechanic or not, but bro, is it brain dead or not? Like, I don't understand. Why is it so hard to admit when something is stupid or not? Like, we can do that for every other MK game before this one, but we can't do it for this game?
Well, I've answered your question probably like 1,000 times by now, and you just keep spamming the word scrubby more than Deadshot spammed the wrist shot.
Because you guys are like, Rio, what's your problem with this? Can you explain? And I tell you it's scrubby, the snap. Then you guys, what does that mean? Nobody knows what that means. These delusions. Like, can I have an opinion or not? Like, I don't understand anymore.
Your opinion is everything is scrubby. We get it. Like, whatever.
I never said everything is scrubby. I never said I'm talking about why I don't like uplock and why it's a bad mechanic.
Scrubby, armor is scrubby. Like, you mentioned, you like typical.
Yes, NRS is not good at doing armor either. They're not good at doing that either.
Literally everything is scrubby. 8 out of 10 mechanics in the game are scrubby. That's essentially what you're saying. Is there something that's not scrubby? You literally, when we played, I'm a scrubby player. Like, I don't even know what to speak. Like, everything is scrubby nowadays. Is this the modern FGC talk? Like,
bro, Dave, I'm sorry, but when I played against you, you were literally flying in the air with overheads and jacks unblockables left and right. I mean, what do you want me to like clap, celebrate, say you're the best player ever? I mean,
you clapped a lot on MK11. Like, we're not allowed to clap.
Oh my god, here we go with the MK11 now. When we're talking about MK1, is it ever possible for us to do an episode and talk about the game we're talking about? Can that ever happen, or is that too hard to do? Because there's nothing to talk about in MK1.
You've been there for this whole time.
I say, Rio, I'm happy to stay here, but I gotta go in 20 minutes.
No, that's fine.
Let me just say ultimately my issue. So I just man, the assist mechanic unfortunately has just made the game too offensive. And it doesn't give a defensive balance. Let me give you a quick example. I was hearing, they buffed Liu Kang. Liu Kang is better, et cetera, et cetera. I turned on the other day. I was watching Rio stream. I said, "Oh, cool, Rio streaming. He's playing MK. Let me check it out." The first thing I saw was him trying to play defense, and the Liu Kang player did a regular fireball into Motaro teleport when it hit for a full combo on reaction, for a regular fly kick. I mean, not it, which just comes out as a fireball. And I turned it off right away. I was like, this is the problem. And unfortunately, there's just too much of that. There's just too much of that. And ultimately, it's tough for me. Like, that personally turns me off. To somebody else, they may say that's cool, and that's fine. The problem is there's nothing to the opposite end. There's nothing on the other end that is like properly defensively powerful. For example, back when Sector had that armored launcher, couldn't get the zoning wasn't the issue. The issue was you couldn't get near because it was an OS escape to OS armored launcher on reaction, which I know they toned that down, but that was the problem. That was why it was so good. If there's any kind of like, oh, here's the defense, it's usually some type of armored launcher or some type of get off me situation that results in a combo. And that's not good defense either. That's scrubby, thoughtless defense. It's not just Mortal Kombat guilty of this. I think fighting games are going this direction, but I think there's too much of it in Mortal Kombat. And really, I mean, I really thought long and hard about it. I don't really know that anything per se in MK1 actually killed Mortal Kombat. I think what killed Mortal Kombat is Ed Boon, the way he's always killed it. The Mortal Kombat community isn't small. It's probably the biggest of all fighting game communities. The problem is the formula was made for the 90s. It doesn't work today. Much like how the boomers' vision of how do you get ahead in life worked for a boomer. That's why millennials hate boomers, because they graduated college with $100,000 worth of debt, and the formula doesn't work anymore. Like, if you look at from MK1 to 2, very similar to from 9 to X. 9 had a lot of everything, all eyes on it, just much like 1. 2 came out, it wasn't like 1, it was different, still was very popular. Had more popularity than 9, despite the fact that 9, you could say, was more beloved. And it was like, hey, this is really cool. And then comes MK3. You can ask Jimmy, who was around. MK3 was kind of looked at, regardless of how MK3 is seen today by those communities, by the arcade scene, the scene that was keeping, it was like, this is kind of weird. Like, what is this run and combos? And then by the time 4 came out, they had gotten so far away from everything. It was like MK had to go through a restart, and which started the Dark Ages. The same thing now. If 11 comes out, what? And then 1 is like, what is going on here? It's too far away. I don't think the formula can work. The formula can sell a lot of games in the first 2 to 3, and then by the 4th, it always drops off the map. Whether it's the start of the Midway era or the start of the NRS era, the fact that the comparisons are identical shows that's what the formula does. I think people that came in with 1, and most of them 1 is all they know, they're going to like it. We know there are people that still play it. But I think if you're a crowd from 9X, and a lot of, as Dave pointed out, 11 still has people going back to it. In some ways, even 11, if you came in with that, you're not going to like MK1. And I don't, and I think it's oftentimes viewed by the community as salty players, or it's viewed as like not just salt, but we know how MK is. They always complain about the new game and praise the old one. Well, that's not because they're a bunch of salty crybabies. It's because really, despite what Mortal Kombat did in the 90s, fighting games don't do that, especially in the modern era. I mean, they deviate a little bit, like Tekken 5 to 6, 5 to DR to 6 to 7, but not like from 7 to 8. And even from 7 to 8 has a ton more legacy than any Mortal Kombat game does. It's like what happens just doesn't happen in fighting games anymore, where there's this much deviation. And it's not that there's... Go ahead, Dave. But you know what I mean? It's like they get in and they prefer a certain thing, and all of it's gone by the next game.
I mean, again, you're saying a lot of truths here, but some of it you're omitting intentionally to prove your point, though. Like,
hello Tekken 4, hello Tekken 8, like hello uh, Street Fighter Super Turbo to Third Strike. Like, yes,
And I agree with you, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But my
and
point
let me
is,
just
when
make
tech,
a quick point. Like
go ahead, go ahead, please.
the biggest backlashes were those games, right? Like Tekken 8, people wanted to beat each other up at tournaments. Tekken 4, like people couldn't stand that game, and there was a lot of animosity between the players as well.
100%.
Super Turbo to Third Strike. I mean, this is not Street Fighter. Why is there parry? Why are fireballs so
Exactly,
weak?
and
Like,
that's exactly what happened, and that makes my point even further, Dave. That when Tekken deviated from tag to four, so let me just give you a story. So back then, tag became really big. It's the first time Tekken really exploded because we were first made known of the international competition when Suck Dun Min came over to the USA and really kind of opened our eyes to holy shit, this is how international competition plays when they had the Tekken Nationals and then the Tekken World. And we got exposure to how they play in Japan, so on and so forth. And everyone learned about the legends, Jengiksu, Young Park, etc. Well, when Tekken 4 came out, those two quit after the first 2 weeks and said, fuck this, it's not Tekken. And these are considered gods of Tekken, still legends to this day by anyone who was around back then. And Tekken 4, Harada said, despite selling well, he made the pivot back to Tekken Legacy because he noticed it was odd that it was selling 4 million in 2001 is amazing. That's great. That's people would say that's good today. You know, but he noticed it was odd between the money the game made and the opinion was terrible. So he said, "What am I to go with? Do I ignore the opinion for the money, or do I look at the opinion and say if I do this again, it's not going to go as well?" And so he said, "I'm going to go back to Legacy," and he made the right decision, in my opinion. Street Fighter was also very similar. When you went from the Street Fighter model of like Street Fighter 2, Championship Edition Hyper Fighting, and then your Super Turbo. Well, it was just Super, which didn't go over well because it was too slow, and then Super Turbo. But then when they pivoted to Third Strike, man, people really didn't like that. They actually didn't even they liked Alpha, but even though Alpha was his own thing, but when they went to Third Strike, it was like, man, this is not Street Fighter. This is, the parry and, some of the fundamentals like anti-air. Now you can parry and the fireballs. It was not received very well. And in fact, that was the Street Fighter 3. It wasn't until Third Strike when, ironically, Marvel actually brought the game to life in the States because the game was dead. It was never really overwhelmingly popular like it was overseas. And once Marvel allowed for big tournaments and we could use some of that money to fly over some of the top Japanese, it's called the Third Strike Resurgence. It kind of brought a lot of people. But Third Strike was never, popular on that level over here in America. And that's mainly because of that. There was a lot of that going on in the Street Fighter 3 series overall. But I think we see that people don't like the type of a hard pivot. The difference is that I think they realized that Capcom realized that, and when they went from 4 to 5, I mean, Street Fighter is still built on the 4 model. They have obviously, as James Chen's pointed out, heavily tweaked it and heavily added things in the game that make it nothing like 4, while still trying to keep some of the fundamentals from Street Fighter. Tekken obviously tried to keep some of the fundamentals from Tekken, but still heavily pivoted from what people would consider traditional Tekken in Tekken 8. Mortal Kombat does that every single game. And I think you can do it every once in a while and adjust accordingly based on your community's feedback. But the feedback has been, fuck you. There'll always be some. Mortal Kombat is a lot like Social Security in America. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's always based on we can do what we want because there'll always be more of you to buy it tomorrow than there are today. Much like so there'll be more tomorrow to pay into it tomorrow than are around today. But what happened is their formula ran out. And there were significantly less people in the next game than there were in the previous, and now they were just going downhill from I mean, I looked at the chart from. I know sales are not indicative of how good a game is, but it is indicative on how the how do you call it? The acceptance of a game. 3 million in the first 3 months, then 3 million again in the next 9 months, which is, I mean, 2 million in the next 9 months, which still isn't bad. 2 million in 9 months, not bad, right? But then 1.2 million in the next 12 months. So in the first 3 months, they sell 3 million. And in the next 1 year and 9 months, almost 2 full years, they sell 4.2 million. They barely eclipsed in almost 2 full years what they did in 3 months. And if I look at those numbers, I just say people tried it and they said, "What the fuck is this?" And it just is a straight line down from the third month of the game. And there are all type of reasons: online, no crossplay for a year, everything was wrong. But I just think you have at this point, they have way too many people in the NRS era who are fond of an older game, and that number is so significantly larger on the older game part than on the newer game part, and they're not capturing that many new people on the newer game part. So we got all these older people from other game, the other MK games, who are like, "I don't want this." And that number is just so significantly larger than the number of new people that are getting into it. And that is really, I think, what caused MK to falter. I just, I'm not saying, not even about good or bad. It's just, it's preference. And unfortunately, MK just has too many different preferences because they have too many different games.
Well, again,
And the saying, you
Tom,
can't please them all. Yeah, you can't please them all. But
Tom,
Ed
the
Boon tried
deviation.
to please them all.
Tom, the deviation argument makes no sense because Rio, for example, this is a topic I will agree with him on. Like, he praises Third Strike. Like, objectively, it's, according to your logic, it's one of the biggest deviations of all time. But guess what? It's a successful deviation.
Wait, hold on,
Because-
hold on. Can we not like put words in people's mouth? I don't praise Third Strike. It's just my favorite Street Fighter game. I'm not saying it's the best game ever made.
Well, I think it deserves to be praised because when it, if you want to talk about numbers and sales and all this stuff, it was featured in Evo 2 years ago. It had more interest than pretty much even any modern game aside from Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, right? So it's a massive success. Same thing with Marvel. It had a lot less than I expected, to be honest with you, last year at Evos, but like those deviations have had successes. In my opinion, it has nothing to do with gameplay. It's because people, community leaders in that community convinced you, Justin Wongs, the Justin Wongs, the Yipes, convinced you that what you were watching was not scrubby. What you were watching has value. What you were watching is entertaining. We don't have people like that in our community. In our community, we have people who trash our games, every game. I give Rio lots of props because he actually went back and played MK1 and was like, let me just fucking try it. I have an admiration for that. Like I really have reverence for that. A lot of our other players, they just trash our games. Like, what good does that do? We already know what these games are. I don't mind trashing a game. I trash it.
Wait, Dave, hold on. I understand what you're saying. You're making a good point. However, you're leaving the fact that some of these older games that are praised or these commentators are convincing people that they're good when they're actually not, the games actually do have a lot of good to them. Like, Third Strike has a lot of execution, believe it or not. So even though to you it may look like a scrubby, people just mash game, it's not. There's a lot that goes into that game. There's a lot of execution.
Again, I don't call games Rio. Don't put scrubby in my mouth. I never use that word because I don't think any game is scrubby.
I didn't mean to put it in my mouth, but the way you're saying, like, commentators are tricking people and thinking these games are good when they're not.
No,
the thing is, like, some of these games actually are good. The reason why I like Third Strike is because it's very involvement on player versus player, and the things you have to pull off to do is not easy to do. That's why the game is fun, in my opinion. If it was super easy to play, brain that you just do this and win every match, and yeah, I probably wouldn't like it.
Rio, can you get outside? Can you please, for once, get outside of this brain dead mentality? I don't care about that. When I play and watch a game, I want to have fun, which for me is, defensive play, zoning. I don't think, oh my God, what is scrubby? That makes me mad. I never think about games like that. I just don't. So you have to think that other people think differently than you do. Tom preferenced it by saying it's a preference, like he referenced the preference topic.
But I'm not
That's
talking about a preference thing, though. You don't understand. Like,
I am.
one game. But Dave, the thing is, you can argue which games are harder to play than other games for execution, right? This is not a, in my preference, Armageddon's harder to play than Melee. Like, what are you talking about? No, that's not how it works. Like, some games are actually harder to play than other games in terms of what you have to do in them, in terms of what you have to execute.
And I
That's what I'm
understand
talking
that's
about. You're talking about preference. I get that part, but I'm not talking about preference. I'm talking about Third Strike is a game. It's actually hard to execute some stuff in the game. It's not easy. You just 1, 2, 3 autopilot mash, or you just mash forward and you parry everything your opponent does. It's not how the game works.
I understand that, but to you, I understand that's super important. For me, it's not that important. I don't think it's even in my top 3. Like,
right. So
for
then
me,
we're
what's-
arguing about two different things. You're talking about preference, like if you like the game or not, if you think the characters are cool or not. I'm arguing about, hey, some of the games actually are a lot more involved in execution and stuff that you need to do to get things to work. But then some of the other games aren't. But then you somehow are tying that to preference when I'm not really talking about
I
preference.
think execution is also a form of preference. Some people like high execution and value that over something else. Some game could have low execution but be heavy on defensive mechanics, and some person would like that better. Some could be low on execution but heavy on mix and set plays and would like that. It really all depends what prioritizes. What people consider hard differ from execution is arguably that it's hard, but even some people don't look at that as a necessary hard. They look at that as kind of trivial. So it still does come down to the person. While you can look to execution as one of the factors,
Yeah, like Tommy, you
it comes
example
down to
again. So
person
interrupt
to
you. Like
person.
Tom's gameplay style, like with Sub-Zero, there's really nothing that execution heavy, but he has the right frame of mind, makes the right decisions, and is very patient. That to me, if you want to argue that in the umbrella of execution, it to me could be execution, right? Like I know Rio doesn't just mean just frames. I don't mean to put words in his mouth, but like I I encompass a lot of gameplay styles and abilities under the term of execution, right? Like because what Tom did, I don't think many what Chernny does with smoke, I don't think a lot of people can do that. Even how Rio when how fast he picked up MK1 and managed to rank up more than I ever could. That to me is I don't give a crap if Omni Man is a scrubby mid tier character. I don't think again. Please get away from that term. I don't care about that term. I care about like
Okay,
can I
so
play
this
the
is
way I
about
want?
you don't want me to use the term scrubby or just stop using that word
No,
and
you
start
can
using other
use it,
words.
but try to be more new. By the way, you can use whatever you want. I'm not trying to like
But
put
you got to
words
look
in
at
your
what
mouth.
we're arguing these days. Like back in the day, people used to call it one jab anti-air scrubby, brain dead, this and that. But you know what's crazy? It was actually harder to do an anti-air jab than it is now to do up block for 50.
Rio, I don't care about what's harder to do.
So they're
I'm trying
making
to
it
play the
even
way
easier. My point is we don't need these
I
easier to
care.
do mechanics.
I care. Can I play for me personally? And other, I know Cherney's got to go. I think we should give him a chance to talk. And ironic, as I said, I'm ranting, but like for me personally, I care about. Can I play the way I want to play? And I'm Tom will agree with this. Can we please the way play we want to play? Yes. Do I want to do pew pews the whole match? No. I've said it a million times. That shot, I hate his design. I told play to win. Please don't put time in this character. He's
The
going to get.
point is, if you end everything with everybody's preference, everybody likes what they want, and that's it. There's nothing to discuss because then we can't have conversations. Because we're
That's what
arguing
fighting
about
games are.
you
Like,
like the color blue, I like red. So what is there to talk about then? If the answer to every problem in
well,
the game is, but it's preference, but it's preference. I
well,
don't
it
like
is
that.
preference. Well, it's
But
preference.
anyway,
Like,
my
you
point is
put a
okay.
lot of-
Just really quickly
you
to
put a lot of-
real.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Really quickly to reel Cherney back in the conversation because earlier he mentioned, anti-air jabs were dumb, this and that. Street Fighter 5, everybody complained about them. The thing is, people in Street Fighter 5 didn't complain because anti-air jabs are easy to do when someone jumped. They complained because after you anti-air jab them, you now got a 50-50 or V-trigger into like a death combo. That's what people hated. If you got rid of that and made it so if you did an anti-air jab, you only got like a small combo and then you went back to neutral. If you did anti-air jab and then you both go back to neutral after, nobody would give a shit about anti-air jab being easy to do. They were more angry about the 50-50 and V-trigger shit you got after and anti-air jab happened. So like we're like not telling things the way they actually
I
were.
consumed so much Street Fighter content during SF5 where it being too easy was also the complaint. The 50-50 afterward and the ease of access were both like equal from what I
But
remember.
Cherney, your opponent is jumping in there. They're tapping up. In what world is you doing the easiest thing to do in a fighting game, which is perform a jump, should not equally be met with an easy to do anti-air? You're not even doing anything crazy. You're literally tapping up. So you deserve to get hit by this anti-air jab.
Rio, you answered your own question. Why were people complaining? It's because after you anti-air, you got a huge reward. Whereas if you remove that and you just got like 2% or 3%,
Yeah, but
and the
Chernyy's
other
saying
guy
it wasn't like that. Chernyy's saying it's because it was easy to do. It was equally the
well,
reason.
I'm
No,
telling you, the
yeah, I
reality
said it was equal. Like it was all of it. Right? They didn't like any of it.
reality,
Like,
But Chernny, if you
the
did the
reality,
anti-air jab easily and then you went back to neutral and you took 2%, do you think anybody would care? No, they'd be like, okay, whatever.
exactly.
Like they literally
But
would not
Trini,
care.
that it contradicts Trini, it contradicts Rio's argument. The reasoning was so strong, and the reason that people did not jump, whereas they would have jumped more, like I don't know, for example, a character like Mika, right? It's because they knew if they jumped, there was an anti-air. For example, with like pre Chun Li, she would do like LK,
Mhm.
and there was a
Yeah.
50-50 right afterwards. But if they removed that and she didn't get, which by the way they did, and now guess what? Mika got to jump a lot more. It's preference. Do you want jumpings to be strong or not? You cannot say scrappy. It's in the game. It is what it is.
You can
Don't
have a
complain.
game both have good jumping and not. Look at MK9. Jumps are fast as hell. Like, you got to be sitting there doing nothing to be ready to anti. You can have a game do both. I don't understand what is this? Oh, we have to have either anti-airs be too good, you can never jump, or you have to have jumping be so good it's annoying to anti. Why not have both?
No, I think MK9 is a bad system in terms of like certain characters get to like 100% if you try to jump. And I know really what Rio's gonna say, but like that's what the game was, and that's how I'm judging the game. Do you think I give a damn if Baraka anti-air jump? You know, if he is the anti-air jump, I'll jump again. I don't give a damn. What I'm scared of is Smoke anti-airing me, Cabal anti-airing me because of his pressure afterwards and his restand,
Mhm.
or Cyrax. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about like what the low tiers are doing. I'm
That's
talking
actually
about
not
the
what we're
meta.
talking about. We were talking about uplock earlier, and now we're talking about MK9 anti-airs.
I mean, that's
Well, yeah,
character
nah, 'cause
specific,
it's a crucial
not
Yeah,
necessarily connected to the anti-air itself.
Uplock, everybody in MK1
Yeah.
literally will do uplock into 40-50% for no effort whatsoever. Apparently that's good game design.
Yeah, it's better than what we had in MK9 with like the top.
I'd
3 or
rather have
4.
MK9 anti-airs.
okay,
Well, I would.
can I explain like what I'm coming from, Rio? So my bar for whether something is unreasonable or not is, does it also have like an answer, and is the reward for my answer almost or equal to the reward for the thing you're talking about? I am going to make a video because I did turn on MK1 here on PC, and I tested it against the fastest up block possible, doing a last minute jump in or an empty jump low or a throw. And even though the animation has the character back to a regular block, they still cannot crouch block low. It reads as a punish every time.
Well, look.
Can you say that again?
the
Hold on,
thing
can you
is,
say that again? Because your mic was like a little hard to hear.
So sorry. So while you guys were talking, when I went quiet for a while there, turned on MK1 on PC here, went into practice mode, and I recorded a training dummy doing the same like jump in mix up you described, right? Empty jump, low throw, a jump in, punch in, jumping kick, right?
Yeah.
If I did the last minute possible fastest tap up block, I still got hit by the low and punished by the throw. They both register as punishes every time.
You don't do up block last second. You do it early when they jump, so that if their jump will hit you and they commit to it, it'll come in contact with the last frame of your short up block. You're doing it the opposite
Yeah, but
way.
you can. I understand that, and I know what you're talking about. You can still alter your own timing on the jump in, though, to mess with that. That's not like a guaranteed absolute counterplay.
Bernie, you don't
to
understand.
any options.
They're hunting a 50% combo while you're getting nothing for scouting that. That is the problem.
What do you mean? If I scout it, I also get a 50% combo.
How
he's
are you
saying the
getting a
risk
50%?
reward.
You can't.
So
You
the risk
can't get-
reward is skewed.
You don't get to punish them, and if you ever commit to the jump in like that, you get full combo.
Okay, Rio. Sometime when you have time, like to play, let's do this. I want you to go into practice mode with me, and I want you to try to do this to me.
I mean, are
Chernny,
you
don't
playing
fall
the character
for
I'm
that.
using, or are you playing a different character?
I'm playing a different character, but you seem to think
What
it's a
the-
universal thing.
I never
Right.
said that. I'm talking about the game through the character I'm playing. I have
But
not
look,
Okay,
my
but wait a
preference
minute.
yet.
I'll just say my
But my
personal
point is that
preference. If
existing
some,
for any character is stupid.
Can't let
But
Tom.
I mean,
explain.
David
that's
is the preference
balance,
of
though.
mine.
That's
but
like character strengths and weaknesses, which people complain the modern fighting games are standing out.
Let Tom respond, please.
Chernny,
Tom,
I
go
probably
ahead,
already
please.
know what your
I mean,
option
look,
is. You're probably gonna do an air teleport, and if I go to answer jab, that would punish that anyway. So again, we don't even need uplock for
just
that.
just to
No, it's
me,
not
I
air
mean,
teleport. I will never
Guys,
do
I
that.
just Dave,
guys,
I
let
just
Tom.
don't. Just for me personally, I don't like that because look, there's a bunch of different things I can do when we're. I hate the term playing neutral, but like I can jump in myself. I can dash in to initiate offense. I can do a special move. Several things. If I forgo all that because I say I read a jump and then you jump, I don't want to have to read. Do I uplock? Is he empty jump? I just want to hit the jab, man. Or whatever my character specific anti-air is. Could be whatever, but I want it to work every time. Now obviously like someone's gonna say, "Who Tom Sub-Zero's got us down too." I'm not necessarily speaking in Sub-Zero minds that I'm saying in general, because Sub-Zero's not gonna have that down two in every game. So I mean that's just stupid to think that way. And not every character it's not an answer for the characters overall. I just think that it's just dumb for that reason. That's just my preference why I think it's dumb. Some will agree, some will disagree based on their
Tom,
preference.
I don't mind anything you're saying. I think you're being honest. What I do mind is people, whatever they like, claiming as high skill, whatever they dislike, claiming as scrubby. I mean, it's so
I mean,
dishonest.
of course, I think it's
But
better
bro, we
because it's
have to
something
have
I'm
these
used to.
discussions about these games. Like Davey's like, why are MK1 tournaments pulling 10,000s of people? So big. You want to know why? Because when we watch an MK1 tournament, do you expect there to sit and clap and go crazy because someone got an uplock in a tournament match, got 50% combo? No, I think it's stupid as hell. And I'm sure a lot of other people don't like it either. That's why these games aren't growing. They need to stop being made to be easier like that. Nobody wants to play a game where everything is brain dead. Like, how do you not understand this? You want the games to
That's not.
grow, but then you don't want them to be developed in a way where they would grow more than not. Like I don't get it.
First of all, I don't think that's what makes fighting games grow. I think people when they play fighting games will like, oh my god, how much skill does this take? And let me see. Like, no, that's not.
I
How
feel like
people
when you're
actually.
watching a fighting game at a tournament, the display and skill that you see players doing, it makes you more involved in wanting to see and watch it. Because when you have people doing brain dead stuff like hard blockables or just up block 50%, then at that point, like I'm gonna watch something else. Like I really don't care. Again,
I
it's
see
hard for us to get
Soup in the chat,
excited.
man.
The
Yeah, I want
reason
to respond to something on
go
Twitter
ahead.
really quick
Well,
because I don't have much
yeah,
time. I
okay.
saw Super Bowl say something on Twitter because we exchanged points of view one time. I have a lot of respect for Super Bowl. He said, if only like, almost like, too bad like the people that are around, like the older players are so negative on the game. And I don't even know what an older player is anymore because if you were around an MK11, you feel like an older player if that was your
Yeah,
first game, you know,
yeah.
because of how different it is. He said, if they wish they weren't so negative. I think when people are unhappy and they feel like they're disregarded, they turned angry and disgruntled and negative. I think you can be unhappy but not negative. It's when you feel invisible and your opinion doesn't matter that you get angry and then turn negative. And then when the game turns into this, you get what I call the blockbuster video treatment. Most people are too young to know blockbuster video. When Netflix started doing what they do, even when Blockbuster offered the same service, in fact, you didn't even have to wait for a DVD in the mail. You could then just go pick it up at the store. People's response, they were so angry that they were like, nah, we'd rather you go out of business. And they just doubled down. Like when MK1 started to struggle, people's response wasn't to like whatever, it was good, suffer, bitch, die, because they felt unheard, and it just doubled down and turned a game that maybe could be saved and doomed it. When people, and it's kind of like the NRS community does very bad with opinions. There is a current power structure who believes that their opinion is right because they said so, and then they demonize other people with other opinions who, ironically, it's two groups who feel that they're right because their opinion is more important than someone else's, and they can't ever get out of their own way. And the problem is when the group that is whatever with the current game, they're just so negative toward the older players who have a different preference that then the older players get. We hear things all the time. Pig of the Hut is one that, Dave, he's always said, um, if you're the top player, nobody cares what you think, right? And I think a lot of people have said that, not just Pig, but he's echoed that statement that Warner Brothers doesn't care. We've had other community leaders who say, and that's just the truth at 1%. The problem is even the casuals, when they say, well, I don't like this game, I'm not going to buy this, that, or the other, their response has always been, they don't give a fuck about you either. There's always going to be someone to buy Mortal Kombat. And then they made an expansion and there wasn't. And instead of rallying behind it and coming together as a community, it was like the numbers on the other side, that like the older games were so much larger than the numbers people like the newer game. It turned into pettiness. Suffer, bitch. Die. Guess what? Our game's done. So is yours. Get fucked. This is what happens when there's just too much nobody wants to hear anybody out, where terms that are thrown around are scrubby and no skill and can't adapt. It's shitting on the players of the past who like something different, shitting on the players who like what's there, and there's no compromise and no give. And that's why there's so much negativity. So for the players that are old, it's people that don't like MK1, which are the majority, to tell them I wish they would just be more supportive and support the game. Why would they support a game and a scene and a community who doesn't support them? Who tells them that they're stupid and scrubby and their opinion and their way is wrong? Like it's never going to win that way. That's the problem. Ultimately,
But Tom, out of all the games, you look at even our audience. When you and I trashed MK11, we were the heroes. Now that I'm defending MK1 and to a lesser extent Chernny, I'm the villain and everybody hates me, which is fine. But like these people play, not everybody, and I don't mean to stereotype. But like these people, most of them play nothing. Like you're telling me out of all the MK games, you cannot pick one and enjoy, even if it's a one
but
that
see,
I
that's
hate.
discouraged. That's kind of the problem. For example, I remember when the first combo breaker that I believe 2018 that brought all the NRS games. And for example, MK9 had more viewership for their top 8 than all the other NRS top 8s combined. And King Hippo, if you remember, did a thing where he said MK9 shouldn't come back because it will hurt the current culture of Injustice 2. And that was terrible. When people didn't like Injustice 2, when Destroyer was holding his tournaments.
R.I.P. his blog.
And then we were doing podcasts on, are these people phonies? And that's not our opinion. We were reacting to the community hating on people who were playing the game they loved. When that first combo breaker held all the NRS games, and even I was streaming MK9 with the horrible connection, a lot of the feedback was living in the past, same thing with someone that tries to get into an old MK game or resurrect an old MK game. They are met with the reason why, like Soup has been doing this the whole time. Soup hasn't stopped playing MK9. He always loved MK9. And he's played and done content for it for years. This isn't just something he started doing yesterday, but it's only because now there's no new game to cling to, that now people are more accepting and saying, I want to learn MK9 from Soup. But nobody was talking that way before MK hit the floor. And now it's kind of too late to do that. I mean, the community has always been against it. And also the community is way too small to have like two games at the same time. You can't build an MK community and an Injustice. Just the Capcom community is so large that you have a massive community for Street Fighter, a community solely for Marvel, and there are some that intermingle in both. But both can coexist because the community for Capcom is so large, there's more than enough. Injustice came out when there was barely a Mortal Kombat community. And the problem is it stunted growth. Like, here comes MK9, it gets 2 years, then here's Injustice. Well, there's no way to continue to build Mortal Kombat for the next 2 years, because if you came into MK9 and you wanted to win you had Injustice players who would label you as, oh, you can't win now, etc. And even though you had some people, ironically, the only reason that didn't happen is because of the players that normally do that labeling were also still playing MK9, 16-bit, Dizzy, who were two of the most infamous people is in part of the, oh, you can't blah, 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 blah. It was so weird how our community did this. But the problem is, and then people like Injustice, so you have an Injustice community, people like Theo, so on and so forth, that got in with Injustice and really like Injustice. And then here comes MKX. And well, if you're an Injustice player, well, you don't have a game to play anymore. Injustice has stopped growing. And now MK can grow again. And then Injustice 2. Well, if you like Mortal Kombat. And it's tough. And also the players still have their egos. So when you move on to Injustice 2, if you were a top player in MKX, you feel a certain type of way of somebody coming around and like Destroyer doing tournaments and somebody getting recognition as a top player because you're like, well, I'm winning in the current NRS game. Where were you? Blah, blah, blah. There's too much of that. And it's really, it's a problem that we didn't handle properly. It's a problem that Ed Boon definitely did. Again, capitalism as its finest. Capitalism can cause some problems, but can't always fix them. But overall, it's the community has handled every situation poorly. Every situation has been at their throat. It's been, chasing opportunity or my way's better than your way, and out with the old, in with the new. The community has really reflected its game, where everything is out with the old, in with the new. And I believe the community has handled itself that way. And now the only reason why there's so many people on the disgruntled side is they were at their throats for years between Injustice and 9 and X Injustice and 9 and then 2 X Injustice 1 9 and then MK1. And now there's so many people who were always fighting with you that they're like, you know what? Now that MK1's out and none of us like it and we all kind of see, whatever. Now it's all of them against the MK1 players. It's just the community that has really embodied its game as far as we don't care what came before us, what's new, what's hot. And now there's nothing. And I think no one paid attention to the problem because we always had a new Mortal Kombat game that distract us. Or new NRS game. We could always springboard to the next game. And now we don't have one to springboard to. And even with MK11, when it was out a little longer, we had the announcement that one was coming. So we knew in short order, here comes the new title. The truth is, I believe they are working on Injustice 3. The budget is very, very small, and it's not going to be good. We're going to go through this again with what's good, what's not, who's crying, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to have the uncertain future of Mortal Kombat. And it just...
But I think the difference is that if I could rewind time, obviously my criticism of MK11, I would take nothing of it. I would double, triple down. But I would definitely turn down the toxicity as far as making personal comments and stuff like that. And even King Jr., and we all know how he feels about the game. And I told him, I went back, you know what? It's bad, but it's not as bad as I thought. And he was like, what? How dare you? How can you say that the game is not good at all? But King Jr., you're my friend. People are still playing it. There's a scene for it. It's a very obviously small scene, but I respect it. I acknowledge it, and there's a base for it. I don't need to, talk trash about the game, every podcast because it's already been done a million times. I mean, I will call out the people who are hypocritical about it, and who were complaining about the anti-airs and now, or whatever. But to me, there's no and I did the same with MK1. I was as viscerous as anybody else when the game first came out. I was super. Maybe even over toxic. But there's no reason to complain, because we now know what the game is and what it isn't. If you dislike what the game is,
Chernny doesn't want to interrupt, but he has to go. If you want to give Chernny the closing statement,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, close, I gotta go too, Chernny, but I'll stay here with Chernny.
But well, I don't know if I have much to say. Given the topic, the thing is, I do think a lot of the dissonance in the community does come from a place of a problem of it's just a matter of preference, except that the preferences are being treated as objective facts. Here's the thing: we go back to the anti-airing discussion earlier, right? I fully agree with like the idea of what Tom is saying. I just think that it's also fine if there are fighting games where that's not the case, right? I think that there should be room for guys like Tom who want to play a certain type of fighting game to exist, and then there should be room for everything else. The problem is, both groups of people want fighting games to only go one way, and I think that makes it boring because if that's the case, then why play more than one fighting game, right? It's like you want them to be all the same at a certain point.
I agree. That's called the Fox
yeah.
effect, though, in my opinion. And I'll just share a very brief conversation I had with Sonic Fox. He's unfortunately the figurehead, the leader of the community. A lot of his preferences are echoed down, I think, even to the studio. There's a conversation. There's a conversation I had with Sonic at the first Evo he won in MKX. It might have been the second. I think it was the second one. And I was talking with him in the hotel room, and he was talking about some of the Sub-Zero nerfs. And I wasn't talking about the offense. And then he was looking at me and he goes, that's why. That's why one of those changes. I just need you to spend 2 seconds playing neutral. And I said, Sonic, you won with Alien. You spend half the match, if not the whole match, ramming down my throat half screen normals that go to 50-50s. And you want me to have to wait 2 seconds before I try to keep you out again? You don't ever wait. Not a single second. I said, this is the problem. You and others like you have demonized, you have used your power, and others have used their power and their preference, and some not even as popular as Sonic Fox. I can't put it all on him, because some people who didn't even know who Sonic was when they came into the game, because they didn't know the competitive scene, this is their first competitive game, they had the same preference. It's just the newer preference where it's just a popular thing to do in our community to demonize any defensive style of play as what's the term they use, Dave?
Scrubby,
can't be neutral. Or not neutral.
Yeah.
So they use that term.
Say quote unquote active defense.
Diddle says ice clone is not defense, yet Diddle could never use an ice clone in any of them. If you gave Diddle the ice clone in MK9, Diddle would get losing pools every single game. So I mean, it was a lot more than cloning. I didn't say Sonic was the reason I lost at all, Diddle. I just and I don't think Diddle knows what he's talking about half the time. Diddle just tries to troll to get a reaction. Again, Diddle says ice clone.
Take what he says with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of trying to get a reaction, because Diddle will say something, and then when you react to it, he'll say, "Oh, I didn't say that." Oh, gee. That's just what Diddle does.
Yeah, we'll give him his 50 minutes of fame.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even matter, and this is what they do. You see, instead of attacking the point, they try to make it anecdotal. Diddle doesn't like the kind of old style of the clone. He feels it's not defensive.
No, he doesn't like zoning in general because he knows he would lose to it. He wants,
or maybe zoning. Everyone has their preference, but the point is, it doesn't make it wrong.
Tom, let me say,
I feel.
Did Diddle not beat you in MK9? You were playing Freddy. He got in with Johnny.
He did. Yeah, I didn't play. I hadn't played MK9 at them.
Why did you accept the match then? I mean,
let's just say
that's like me joining a tournament for MKX in like 2026 and losing, being like, yeah, but you wouldn't beat my Tanya back then. Like, then why the hell did you join?
Well,
I
made excuses. A mistake. I wasn't in the right state of mind. Let me just phrase it as such. But I didn't play him in MKX, and I did beat him. The point is,
yeah, but I mean, the truth is, if you took Diddle, I don't know, mega point in MK9 and David his highest point, it wouldn't be competitive. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be stupid here or whatever. Like, I mean, like, dude, yeah, this is why I get on the MK community for being so stupid. Common sense, man. It's like saying, yo, Muhammad Ali the day before he passed knocked his ass out, boy. I could have beat him in his prime. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Tom.
Well, why do you accept? Why do you accept the match then? He could have stupid.
I mean, for money, obviously.
Tom, nobody believes that
players
aside
gotta
from
use
Rio and
common
his
sense, man.
maliciousness,
No, I'm
but
just
like
not
I
a
think
fan of people joining or agreeing to do a match and then making excuses after. If you don't want to play because you don't want to lose, then don't accept.
Two
I
things
wasn't
can be
going to
true.
play.
Two things
I
can be
wasn't going
true,
to
Rio.
play.
If you were to say it's your fault for losing a money match, accepting a thing knowing that you were at 1%, sure. You could say, well, Dave, you lost because, but that doesn't prove that Dave
No. I'm not
in practice
saying Diddle beating him. I'm not saying Diddle beating Dave in a money match means Diddle would have beat him back in 2011, 2012. No, you get props back then if you were there playing or not. Like that doesn't. I'm talking about
Sure.
Diddle was the better player than Dave in 2020 MK9 when that match happened during that time. That's what I'm saying. I'm also not a fan when
wasn't
people beat somebody in a set and they're like, "Oh, because I beat you in the set in 2024, I was better than you in
Sure, yeah, I
2015,
got you.
2016,
I got you.
2017."
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't.
No, I understand.
You get props for what you do, not what you would have done if you played. That to me is just stupid.
No, I understand, but I
No,
think
I
the bigger
agree.
picture here, Tom, if I may, just real quick, the bigger picture is kind of what you're saying. Is I think Diddle is. I've seen him play. I think Diddle is a very strong player. Obviously, Sonic is one of the best players in the FGC of all time. My argument is that not necessarily them specifically, even though to an extent they have argued against the way we want to play, going obviously as back as too far
As
as
Diddle just said, it's not skill. In Diddle's opinion,
exactly. Well, I mean, it's the same thing
using
Rio
an
has
ice
been
clone
saying
is
for
not
a long
skill.
time, except in a more
Diddle's opinion, it's
exactly.
not skill. It's not
It's
skill.
scrubby, requires no skill. We're the worst players in the world.
Or
It's that type of topic,
or
right?
some types
What
of. I was literally
like Rio
watching
said, what
Diddle.
I'm doing is scrubby, doesn't deserve, it has no thought, right? It's that perception, right?
I was watching
It's just,
Diddle play this
That's
sector
not what
player.
bro. Dave takes it to like
Hold up.
next level.
Hold on. I was watching Diddle stream. I do watch all the streams. A sector player, and he was like, "Chat, huh? You see this chat, huh?" And then he lost. Said, "A 6-4 matchup. You want to shut the fuck up?" I mean, dude, zoning. You see what's going on here, chat? And you're gonna bag me on a 6-4, dude. Shut it. Like,
wait,
stop, man. Like,
Homelander beats Sector 7-3. Like
he wasn't playing. He
even
wasn't playing someone. He was playing somebody else. He was playing
okay.
a different. My point is,
Even Sector like has been
it was
nerfed.
the
I think
zoning
she's
that
the
was made.
most broken in the game. Like if
I guess.
Diddle stuck it instead, Diddle go.
I mean, I guess my point is that it certain things are demonized. So if you want to run away, if you want to zone, if you want to lame somebody out, anything like that, it is seen as it doesn't take any skill. It's not real defense. It's not. I
It's
mean,
scrubby. It's all just me, Tom. I know that's the problem with the
yeah.
community. You
People
want to make
think
it.
defense. People think defense means you stand there, get mixed out of your shoes, and guess right all the time. Oh, that's good defense. No, that's what you want because you realize more times than not something is going to get through. Most defensive players say, I don't want to be next to you to have to block 99 mix-ups. So they find ways to mitigate the amount of times you get your offense. The problem is that often requires some type of zoning or keep out or something like that, which players then say, that's not real skill, that's not this, that's not that. And of course, Diddle said, oh, so he's saying Sonic is the reason he lost. So that's not what I
Tom,
said at
let's
all.
not give Diddle too much
Yeah,
props.
I'm
He
just
doesn't
saying.
deserve anyone.
I'm just
He's
saying.
when the problem initially
I'm just
occurred
saying
and
this is
how it
why
started.
this is why it's tough to have intelligent conversations
Tom, let me just
with
say this, please.
MK players.
This conversation initially started when people like you and me were winning an MK9, and players like 16-bit and Dizzy were like, "Why aren't you guys playing footsies? What is this style? You guys just run away." It's like we have to run away because you guys are like shoving down random moves that are plus 10 or 0 in our faces, or like you're doing 50% combos. Like,
but against me, all he did was run away.
I know. Well, yeah, he did. Well, I'm sorry. She did. I apologize. She did, and Dizzy did it to me, and then we were like, we cannot play footies against you guys because we're so scared. Like, the risk reward is in your favor at that range. We have to run away. Or in Tom's case, when he fought 16-bit, he was like, dude, okay, I have to readjust my style. Like, I cannot catch you, so I'm just like turtle you out, and that's kind of what Tom
because
did.
I know, yeah, exactly, and play the life lead.
Exactly. So
it was the only adaptation. But I wasn't like, this has no skill. The problem is the minute it gets reversed, all of a sudden it's no skill, it's no neutral.
And Mortal Kombat
It's
players
Scrubby.
love to
Yeah,
throw that term out. They will.
Well, Dave, hold on. Dave
mask-
loves harping on me using the word scrubby. What I don't want to get is Dave back then during MK1 we were calling Cage scrubby and this and that. He had no problem denying it. Like, oh, it's not scrubby. You
I
could say
don't
that
think I don't
during
think
Tanya and
I
Kex, all this, but now all of a sudden
hold on a second.
MK1, this is the game where now we got to stop using the term scrubby.
Well, hold on a second. I never thought Cage was scrubby. I never even called Smoke scrubby.
Guys, I gotta head
called
out, man. I got a lot going on here.
All
Thanks
right,
for
I
having me.
appreciate you being on, Tom.
That's,
Thanks.
Later, guys.
yeah, thanks. We'll finish
Also,
off here, but
I know Chernny had to bounce earlier because he was on short time, but also
Yeah.
appreciate Chernny being on, even though we didn't
yeah,
get to tell him.
yeah, we'll finish off here shortly. My criticism of look, the most toxic maybe I've ever gotten was maybe MK11. I would
No,
never
you
call
were way
even
more toxic than Armageddon, in my opinion. That was when you were at your absolute
Yeah.
worst.
I think you're right, but let's just go by MK11 because those podcasts are actually on on record. That's what I want to go by. I would never call anything in MK11 scrubby. My criticism of MK11 is not that it's this easy to play game that a bum off the street can win. That's not my criticism. My criticism of the game has and always will be what you guys have heard, and you can go back and listen. I don't think a character like Fujin is easy to play. I don't think a character like Jack is easy to play. Just like I don't believe Kung Lao and MK1 is easy to play, or anybody else for that matter, right? My criticism is like I want to play the way I want to play, and that usually includes something resembling zoning or some strong defensive mechanic or some strong defensive aspect of the game. It doesn't have to be universal, and I stand to this to you know by my words to this day.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna get a game with as strong defensive options as MK11 ever again. So
I think it's one of the worst I've ever seen, one of the weakest.
you thought MK11 had some of the worst defense?
Yes, when you're standing, it
The
had some of
game
the
where
worst.
you would know what your opponent would do after your move on block or you being in hit stun. Like this is like Batgirl doing a vortex on you. You know that she's gonna go for the low, and you could floss block launch them out of it. That's not good defense. I don't think they're ever gonna make a game with anywhere near as strong defense as that ever again.
Well, I hope they make better because I think, first of all, how strong defensive options are depends on the game, right?
Also
I
depends
can
on the
easily make
character.
a
Like
case-
some characters had terrible floss block launch up twos.
Well, yeah, a lot of the ones that I used had awful ones, like
That's fair. Like Setchern had the worst falls. Her up two wouldn't even work like
Yeah.
after anti-airs or any move. It would just whiff at no range. But that
For
was her
example,
balance.
yeah, RoboCop was one of the worst ones as well, if I remember correctly. I think RoboCop is also one of the weakest zone I've ever used in my life. Ironically, again, I don't want to rehash. You already know how I feel about this.
I mean, the problem
think
is you
MK
can't really call him the weakest zoner when people were winning tournaments when during him killing him by zoning. That's the
Well, they
issue here,
weren't.
Dave. They
Fujin was
were.
winning. No, they
No,
weren't.
there were tournaments won online. Those big tournaments that were ran by like Destroyer and everybody with RoboCop. Suno using him, beating people by running away.
He lost. You talk about Sunyo mostly, right? Is that correct?
Yes,
You guys
well,
can go
there
back.
were. I mean, Foxy even got top 8, I believe, with RoboCop.
Well, Fox has always used multiple
My point is, if
characters.
RoboCop was the worst zoning to ever exist, then how in the world could somebody ever even win a tournament or get top 8s by playing him? It makes no sense.
I don't think MK11 is that unbalanced of a game. Just like I feel it with MK1. Like, look, MK1. I think Peacemaker is weak. Can he still place? Hell yeah! Of course, guys. Look at the matches. He can still place. Now, obviously, if you put a lot of money on the line, you call the best players. It's no longer a regional online tournament, right? Like you have the best players in the country or possibly in the world, and the meta changes, right? It's the same with MK11. Is RoboCop good? No, I think he's like mid tier best, and I think zoning in MK11 is complete trash. Now, can you still win? Like, of course you can, right? But would you beat? I don't know. Nicolas or his brother or Ninja Killer when they place Fujin? No, he would get blown up, which is exactly what happened.
Okay,
That's all
but
I'm
I mean,
saying.
would you get zoned out by Ninja Killer's RoboCop if you were it? You gotta also think of it that way too.
Well, it depends which character I would be using. If I were
Bro,
allowed
he
to
literally
have,
has a low gunshot that he can meter burn. So every time you block, you have to hesitate if you may meter burn or not. That's an annoying mind game that you're forgetting about.
if I were allowed to have my type of zoning, which by the way I did at some point, and it got nerfed, and I was no longer allowed to have it. Like talking about like pre-patch Setchion, possibly. I'm talking about like pre-patch Highborn, which almost nobody was placing with. I was using her. That got nerfed. Um, the type of what favors my gameplay style got essentially like kicked out of the game. It
Bro,
was
the
no longer allowed
problem is
to
we're
live.
literally the problem is there's objective facts that happen during the game, and then things that you're saying that aren't true. RoboCop was
Well,
a good zoner in MK11. That's a fact. He had
no,
top
he
8
was.
placements. People were winning because of it. Like you're just denying it, like it didn't happen. Like that to me is crazy.
Guys, search the recent tier list on MK11 and see who's telling the truth and see where people place RoboCop, where people place Kitana. Usually RoboCop is like bottom 10, bottom 15, and then look at what people are placing at the top. Um, you again, folks, look for yourself. You don't have to trust me. Look, Scar mid tier lists. Look where Scar, Sonic Fox had his only. Like please look at the facts, and if RoboCop is in the top 10, let me know. Like I would love to see it. But in the vast majority of tier lists, he's like bottom 10, bottom.
But they're
15,
saying the
I
character
think.
could actually zone. He made characters go to him.
I don't care. Like Remy is on third strike. Do I care? No, it's weak.
But the zoning isn't weak. It's his
He's
other
weaker.
tools. What? But the thing is, like, a character could be a zoner but be weak, not because they're zoning, but because everything else is bad.
Yeah, the character is not good then.
But RoboCop is a good
And that's-
character. He's not Remy.
No, he's weak.
I don't
If you wanna
understand.
talk about
RoboCop
good-
was always considered like outside top 10 in MK11.
Not in my opinion.
Okay, well, the people that played him and mained him and were placing tournaments with him, I remember Foxy
were-
having him outside top 10.
Well, he was losing to Fujin, Cabal.
It's
the
okay to
usual
lose
Jack-
to the best character in the game when you're playing an outside top 10 character. Doesn't mean the character's
Well,
now
yeah.
not outside top 10 anymore.
Well, I'm talking about the meta. So I think if you want to talk about good zoning characters, we can get into this conversation. I think Setchion was very strong. And by the way, I
Still
hope
a
you also
top
get to
10
this.
zoner in the game that you say has no zoning.
Her full screen zoning got nerfed heavily. I don't think she's a full screen
but
zoner. I think
she's
it's
still
weak.
top 10 in MK11 last patch, and she still has zoning, and you still say MK11 has no zoning.
No, it doesn't. The reason she's strong has nothing to do with necessarily like the zoning that I prefer, that I like the Freddy one, which again is complete non-existent in MK11. But she's strong because she can do stuff like 1/1 whirlwind and push you back. So she has that kind of mid-range zoning. Now that is strong. It's very, very strong. She's one of the best at that, and she can also get around the garbage mechanics in the game. That certain people have defended in the past, like the
Like
wake up
delay
system,
wake up.
etc.
hmm
So that's part of the reason why she's strong.
Dave, what if
But like anybody,
you're
like
just not good RoboCop and you didn't understand the character? Is that a possibility here?
yeah, of course there is. But I think if there's one thing in life I understand, it actually is zoning.
But the thing is, every game you zone differently. Just because you were a good zoner in one game doesn't mean all of a sudden you're the best zoner in every game out there.
No, that's definitely a possibility.
Like
I think for the
if I
most
had you
part,
try to zone in melee, you would be so lost on what to do or how to even like approach it because it's so
Yeah,
different.
obviously, it's a game I never played. Of course it would.
Yeah, so like this whole just because you didn't understand how to zone people properly in MK11 doesn't mean the game had no zoning.
Well, you admitted that when I was using Katana, I was doing something you have almost never seen before.
Yeah, you're
so-
very good at like the spamming projectile meta. That's you're very good at. But when you have to do other
Yeah.
forms of zoning, you seem to fall short in that regard.
Yeah,
Not
you
this
naming
to
a
you.
character.
Not at this to you, but it's just people are excel at different kinds of playstyles. You're not very good at when you have to zone your opponent without filling up the screen with a million projectiles.
Yeah, but you literally saying that what RoboCop is good at. I'm telling you, he's bad at that. He's not even good at that.
But you don't understand. RoboCop has many ways to zone. He has his right full to anti-zone. He has his low shot makes people go to him. He has his down 4, his sweep, his back 1-2, his air charge. You have to understand how to use all this to make people go to you and play that zoning game. You don't just
In my
walk back
opinion,
and
I
no gunshot
understand.
all day and that's it.
Well, I think against all the top tiers, we could talk about good zoner. And I think one that people are downplaying, and I'll let you know which one that is in MK1. But I think RoboCop is bottom 10 and I think his zoning with regards to the meta is irrelevant. Now I'll give you guys an example of a zoning character who's actually downplayed in the community, and that's Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat 1. Why? In a cesspool, in a shit pool full of
Dave, hold on.
bad
You realize I
projectiles.
played you in MK11. I mean, in MK1. You can't do these smokes and mirrors with people. By the way, to the people listening to this audience, Dave and I played a few days ago. If you guys want to watch a set, it's on my archive channel. We did a first to 10. I played his zoning character, and this dude, zoning consists of walking back to regen camo meter, then doing homing missile or a sector missile, coming in 50-50 over to low, full combo, rinse, repeat. That is not zoning, dude. You're just running away for your camo to refill. RoboCop literally does more zoning in MK11 than you did with Kung Lao in MK1.
Well, first of all, you're using a character who has a stance that can just press literally 2 buttons and I can no longer do any projectiles, right? So already you have to play
dude,
different.
That stance is so
Well,
bad because that stance is
guy-
so bad because it's so laggy with recovery that all you have to do is homing missile. I go to stance it and you come in, you're already in my face doing moves.
So a guy literally complained just like 2 minutes ago, saying I can no longer adapt. I'm only good at one style. I'm so bad. Whatever.
I never said that. I said maybe you're not the best at all forms of zoning for all games, like you're
apparently
making
I'm
it
good at
seem.
adapting,
But you're making it seem like you're the law and order and everything to do with zoning. What you say is law. That's how you make
I
it.
am in the community. I am.
But
one
you're
of the law
not.
and order.
You're not the dude who's known for
I
zoning in
am.
every game. You were not the dude known for that in MK11. I'm sorry, you were not. Or MKX.
I'm not. Yeah, because my character got nerfed. But anyway, guys, trust. MK1 Kung Lao is like a mid-tier character, but obviously they're never gonna buff him because they're scared of.
They're not going to buff his zoning because the character does 50-50s with assists and armor launchers. That's why.
So, this
And
character
throw combos. He does throw combos into full combos. Like, I mean,
the character is underrated, obviously, because in a game in which zoning is incredibly weak, in which you need offense to succeed, he has some. That's why he's good, right? And I'm telling you, he's underrated. The best defensive / zoning, I wouldn't even call it zoning, character in the game is by far Havoc. It's not even close. It's like,
bro, calling
not
Havoc
even like
a zoner to me is crazy.
well, I mean, yeah, that's the game. Like, what do you want? Like,
That's crazy.
Rio's
Havoc's the
definition
premier
of
zoner.
zoning. Guys, look at Cyborg and Justice One. He can zone. Like, dude, stop. Like,
I never said that. It
propaganda.
never came out of my mouth.
Well, he can zone, can he not?
Yeah, okay, I mean, if Havoc is the premier zoner in MK1,
I'm asking
all you have to do is walk
can-
forward and duck and nothing happens, then okay. I guess that's the best zone you got.
Can Cyborg zone in Injustice 1? I would say he can zone pretty well, actually. Can he not?
Yes, but what does that have to do with Havoc zoning in MK1?
Well, I mean, again, zoning, it's a matter of evolution. It's a matter of progress. It's not the same in every game. So here's Rio's definition of zoning. Cyborg is a great designed zoning character.
It depends. If you copy and paste Cyborg from there and put him in like MK11 or something, yeah, he'd be broke as hell. He probably would.
Yeah, with the power level is incredibly low and everything gets nerfed. Yeah, of course. The difference is that if you gave Cyborg Zod's trait, Cyborg would be like mid-tier, maybe even better. Like that's because like it has to, like, of course, Rio's definition of zone, you can only zone. You cannot do anything else. The power level have to be so
That's
low.
not what
so
I
that
said. That's not, bro. Dave, you're like the king of like taking something and twisting it something that was never said. What I'm saying is we got to talk about what your character actually does. The reason why Cyborg sucks in Justice 1, because all he has is zoning. That's not enough. He's lacking everything else. The reason why you're doing good with Clown and MK1 is not because of your zoning, but you're making it seem like it's because you're zoning. The reason why you're doing good with Clown and MK1 is because you're constantly doing cameo. And to come in 50-50, full combo, throw full combo armor. That's why. Nobody cares about your zoning in MK1. Nobody's losing because you're jumping back, throwing hats. Again, if you could turn Kung Lao and MK1 into Cyborg where it's like, okay, all you have is hat zoning, this and that, but you have no 50-50, no throw combos, no armor launcher, guess what? Your character all of a sudden is shit now too. Because who would have thought your zoning just isn't that good?
Yeah, of course. There's never been a character, even offensively, right? If you remove back row's teleport in Justice 1, or even Martian Man had a safe teleport in Injustice 1. You think he would be top tier? You think they would be top tier? Of course they wouldn't be.
Dave, you're
So
missing the
you
point. You're not understanding what
no,
I'm
you hate
saying. You're praising you playing Kung Lao as the zoner, but most of your game wins or round wins or the things you do that determine if you're going to win or not are have nothing to do with you zoning. Like, how do you
well,
not get this?
obviously it depends on the matchup, right? I will zone more against characters who
But your
don't have
zoning
like
doesn't
a
even do
stack.
anything. You're throwing a low hat that can be ducked. How is that zoning? It's literally not doing anything. You're just
Oh,
buying
go
time
ahead.
to get sector cameos who come in and do a mix up. Like, what?
Yeah, like Zod with
That's
trait. Well,
zoning? Well,
was Zod a zoner in Justice One?
yes, you actually could zone slow the game down, but then the thing that made him crazy is this trait and everything. But nobody called him
He's
a pure
literally the
zoner. Nobody called Zod a pure zoner in that game. We all knew why he was dumb. It was a combination of everything.
Yeah, exactly. A combination of everything is what makes top tiers. Characters who rely on just one thing.
But some
they tend
characters
to be
actually
good
have
and low
very
people.
good zoning, though. That's the thing. Kung Lao was not one of
Who?
them. Kung Lao was not one of them.
Who has good zoning in MK1? You played the
Out
game.
of all the
Tell me.
characters I played against, really none of them. I guess the best zoner maybe Serena.
Exactly. What? The cameo?
Yeah.
She's terrible.
She's the one that out of all the characters I fought will slow down the game though, to make you sit there and duck and play
Oh.
patient. 'Cause
With
she has an
one projectile.
unreactable jade boomerang that comes out.
Oh my god. Now I feel like I'm the one losing. Guys, there's no such thing as Serena cameo. She sucks. She's not even that good. The best thing about her is arguably what they just buffed, which is the up cameo. I'm surprised they even did this, but like has full invincibility on wake up.
It's full
The
combo
cam-
punishable. What do you mean? You're surprised they did that? It's not even that crazy.
Well, I know it's not, but that's
It's an
literally what we have
invincible
to
move.
do.
That's full combo punch roll does like 10%. Okay, whoa, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, yes.
That's like literally a DP. It's literally a dragon punch from Street Fighter that requires cameo. If it gets bait, you can't break her, and it does no damage. Basically, how's that crazy?
Yeah, that's we have to, we have to celebrate the little celebration because we're that fucking desperate in this
But
game.
bro, what makes Serena annoying
That's
is
the
not the
mechanic.
up invincible Serena move. Nobody cares about that. It's a combination of her double boomerangs and footsies and her straight knife. That's it. I'm not saying it's amazing, but I'm saying that's probably some of the best stuff you're gonna get in MK when it comes to zoning, even though it's not that great because you can just duck
Don't
it.
care about the moves are irrelevant. Now, if the forward cameo actually hit mid, I think then she would actually be like serve a purpose.
Yeah, maybe Katana could be good zoning, but I never played her or labbed her yet to
Katana-
understand if she actually is good at zoning.
So I'm working on a tweet / post and test your might. Let me tell you the zoning that Rio praises here. I preface this with this: MK1 has some of the weakest projectiles you will ever see in any of the NRS games. Even going back to as
I'm
like
I'm not denying that. Never said it didn't.
so. Tana, for example, look at her
Also,
aerial.
wait
fan
a minute.
recovery.
Some projectiles are dumb in MK1. Actually, wait a minute. MK1's like the only game we could get hit by a random projectile, then you have to eat a full combo. That's why. You want to know why you don't have better zoning? Because of that. Because of the cameo system. Because in this game, I'm playing against people, they throw a random fireball, then they do a teleport. When Motaro, I get full comboed. I eat 40% for getting hit by fireball. But if I block it, they teleport full screen. They're safe. Like, and you want better zoning, I'm sorry. But when you have things like that, because your fireballs go to full combos, you're not getting better zoning. Pick and choose. Do you want fireballs going to full combos so you get more reward when people get hit by them? Or do you want to have spammable zoning that you can spam, but it doesn't do full combo every time you get hit? Pick.
I will address the anti-zoning propaganda here in a second, but Kitana's area Fantas, it's easily the worst it's ever been. I mean, it has like 45 frames. I mean, it's garbage. Quan Chi, all of his projects are garbage. Melina's high and low side don't even go full screen. Neither do Reptile's force balls, right? Like all the stuff that you guys kind of expect in the game to be in the game has been removed, stripped of these characters, just so people can celebrate their anti-zoning victories.
This dude's saying I'm celebrating anti-zoning victories.
what-
What do you? I actually like zoning in games. I think you're confusing me with somebody
Ashra.
else.
Ashra, right, has these super slow projectiles. If that stuff were like full screen, even like 3/4 of the screen, you guys don't understand how much better she would be. But I'll keep it real. Like the characters who actually have good projectiles, they have gotten better. Like Baraka has a really good one. I mean, it's not great. You're not going to zone people out, but it's better than what it used to have, which is not much to say. Ermac lost his projectile. Ghostface has none. Havoc is the best one. It's not even close. The NRS probably doesn't even know that. Homelander is just decent, right? Just They just complement his rushdown game. Um, I mean, there's really not much to say here, honestly. Like most of them are really, really, really horrendous. Like they're terrible. Sub Zero. I mean, oh my god. Like, do we even have to talk about this? 40 frame ice ball in MK11. I think it used to be 28 or 29. Just unbelievable.
You know why they nerfed Sub-Zero's projectile in this game? I don't think you must have forgot the game that was played before MK1.
No, I didn't.
When MK11 Sub-Zero had such a crazy projectile that a lot of people complained about it. That's why it was nerfed for this game.
Yeah.
Did you miss that game? Why do you think they toned down Sub-Zero in MK1 after MK11? Why do you think that is?
Hypercorrection.
My point is, they tried to experiment with Sub-Zero having a super fast projectile you can do in neutral that gets you a full combo, and it's mid.
Okay.
And people didn't like it, so they got rid of it.
Well, I think he got over nerfed from the beta anyway, but
also,
Tanya,
crazy Cthulhu has a point. Sonya made onion rings. That's actually one of the better mid zoning projectiles in the game.
It's useless.
Kano laser too.
Also useless.
Does 5% chip. It's like a mini Trident rush from anywhere.
None of those. Some of those cameos are one of the worst ones in the game because they don't.
My
they
point
don't
is,
complement.
they will make your opponent have to approach you.
So.
Well, I mean, I guess they're zoners now because that's what you're doing with Kung Lao. You're throwing hats, you get your cameo, and then you do your thing and come in. So if you're a zoner with Kung Lao, then I guess these are zoners too.
I just told you the characters who actually do something for the zoning characters. I'm sorry, the cameos who do something for the main characters. That's Striker for Havoc. If you're talking strictly defensive, play some of the best Gira spreads with Montaro. Sector Montaro she's good, but she's always been massively overrated by this community who hates zoning. Obviously Kung Lao Sector, but yeah, other than that, there's really not much here. Quan Chi, like guys, they actually released Quan Chi the way they did on his release. Essentially like a character who was worse than MKX Shinako. Completely like useless character. Like that's not even beta, that's like whatever Z is in Greek. They called Rain a premier zoner. Guys, the worst thing about Rain is his zoning. The worst thing about Rain is his like
He's like a
range.
rushdown character, but yeah, that's funny.
So
that was a troll by them. That was a troll by them.
They lie. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of trolling in this game when it comes to defensive zoning. I mean, Shang Tsung. Why would you use this character? So intricate, yet the reward is completely.
Hold on, there's some crazy zoners. Let's keep it real. Let's talk about what zoning is. Let's actually talk about what zoning is in these new games. When you could do something at a random place that can get you rewarded with a combo, right? When your opponent has to kind of like evade. You know who's a good ass zoner in this game? Farah. You throw her, it's a 50-50, you get combo. Like, we're talking about buff zoning. You have that.
What?
Farah is a 50-50 projectile that will gives you a full combo.
Peacemaker Farah is probably Peacemaker. By the way, who is a zoner? We can talk more about him. I think it's his weakest quote unquote variation.
What does that have to do with Peacemaker Farah? I'm talking about anybody with Farah. You now have a projectile that will give you a 50-50.
Yeah, like Peacemaker. Yeah, guys, Rio's protecting zoning with Peacemaker. So now we're calling everything zoning.
I'm just saying, bro, we got to keep it real. Because in other games I was playing, I don't see all these full combos of random projectiles hitting people like that. Overheads and lows, half screen projectiles that get full combos. You keep saying, why don't they want to buff zoning? You understand why. Look at what the game has in it. You have characters doing Fireball Motaro that hits full combo. If not, you're safe. You have characters throwing projectiles that are overheads and lows like Farah getting full combos. If you want zoning to be made better and changed, then a lot of this current stuff needs to be removed. Because once you have all this stuff together, it'd be obnoxious to play against.
Well, I don't use words like that. I care about what's strong, what is not a complaint about the meta. That doesn't mean I don't have my grasp with it. I think, again, it depends which game you analyze, but I assure you, folks, that zoning is not good in this game. Anybody who claims otherwise has an agenda. And a lot of people, obviously, in this game.
But you could literally lose to zoning in this game. Again, if Liu Kang hits you a random fireball in neutral, guess what? Now you have to get a combo. You can sometimes lose because of it.
No, you can, but Liu Kang is still mid tier in most tier lists. That's just a
Right, but
fact.
my point is the fact that you can even lose to a zoning element like that is crazy because in some other games you can't. That doesn't even happen.
Actually, it does happen.
You think Noob Saba and MK9 is gonna throw a random shadow and you get full combo and lose because of it? No, that's not happening.
Besides, why we're using it? You want
So
a
my
good,
point is,
you
this
actually-
game has some stronger elements or stronger zoning characters than previous MK games.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Any of the top tier
Dave,
zoning games that
again,
MK9
I'm sorry, but some of these matches where I have to get on with Omni, some of these people are playing evasive, running away, and then they're like Farah, overhead or low, and footsies, I have to guess. And when I guess wrong, I get launched. That is a form of zoning, basically. You may not like the Kami system and how it does it, but it's basically functioning the same, just in a more brain dead way.
No, I think it's. I think it's.
How is you having to chase somebody, go to them, then they pull off Farah from half screen, they throw it, it hits you to get a full combo. How do you not consider that, what that just happened, that instance, to be more in the side of zoning than not? You just got zoned with it and they got a full combo because of it. What do you mean?
Like Metroid said, like turtling in this game is actually very strong. That's because
yes, and that empowers that because now when you turtle like that, you can do something like, "Ooh, I'm far away down. Let me throw this random fair projectile. Oh, it hits you. I get a combo." That is a form of good zoning. How do you not see that? It may not be the zoning that you like or agree with or think that's good for the game, but that's what's in the game, and because of that is why we cannot have better zoning because elements like that already exist. We get hit by a random projectile half screen away, and now you're eating a combo. That's not a thing in some of these previous MK games. You may not remember. That doesn't exist until MK1.
Let's look at the facts. Let's
like in MKX when Fair was throwing Farah at you, he wasn't getting full combos randomly. In this game, she launches you for both options for some reason.
Let's look at the tournament results online when the best players are competing. I have compiled a tier list. Let's see if they hold true to what Rio is saying. So Cyrex, I don't have to say anything, right? That's obvious. Essentially,
wait, what did you say? What was the sentence you just said?
The sentence is that I have compiled a tier list based on online tournament results. Obviously, mostly online because that's what the game is at this point. And let's look at if these so-called godlike zoners are winning.
I never said the game has godlike zoners. You're literally just putting random words in there. I never said this game had godlike zoners. I never said the best characters in this game are zoners or getting zoned 24/7. I'm saying this game has fragments of these zoning things that you see during a match that can happen. You could lose because of it because you got hit by a random projectile launch you 50%.
Yeah,
do you understand? Fragments. Like it's happening.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's look at what's happening. Cyrex, I don't have to explain anything. Homelander, I don't have to explain anything. Havoc, fair enough. Ermac, there's nothing there. Ghostface, there's nothing there. Ajanic, there's nothing there. Melina, there's some of it, depending which cameo they're used. But essentially, there's nothing there. Raiden, there's nothing there. His projectile sucks. Reiko, there's nothing there. Scorpion, that's a joke. Sindel, there's some of it. T1000, there's nothing there. Smoke, there's nothing there. Ona, there's nothing there. General Shaw, there's nothing there. Kenshi, there's nothing there. Lime, there's some of it there. Kung Lao, there's obviously there's a lot of it there, mostly because of the armor. Netaro, there's nothing there. Like none of these fucking characters are zoning characters. None of it. Almost none.
You must have not listened to what I said. It must have went over your head because what I said was there are remnants of zoning during this match where you can at times be half screen away from your opponent, you get hit by some projectile or fair or something, and then you lose the game because of it. That right there, that instance that just happened that occurred you to lose was part of zoning, whether you want to admit it or not. That's why zoning will get built in this game. Do you understand?
Like a fragment, yeah. There's like fragments of
a fragment of superpowered annoying zoning. Because when that hits you, you get comboed, dude. This is crazy. Imagine if a random projectile hits you in MK9. Now you're getting full combo. Like what?
I don't know what fragment means. You're defending weak
fragment
zoning.
Means like a portion of zoning. Its zoning isn't there throughout the entire game through all 99 seconds, but there are some seconds throughout those 99 where in those positions you must guess what are they going to do in neutral through zoning, and if you guess wrong you get comboed. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, there's like
those instances have strong zoning in those aspects.
By the way, this guy uses Omni-Man, by the way, who was like,
oh my god,
so the best, like.
Dave, I know you think I can just sit back and do Omni-Man stance and nothing ever happens and I never get hit, I dodge everything, but that's not really how the character works. Sometimes you're going to be playing footsies with people. So stop, let me talk. Sometimes you're going to be playing footsies with people at neutral game. You cannot be doing stance like that in footsies because these people can dash up and hit you or do something. So in those instances, a fair projectile or whatever, or Liu Kang fireball from outside sweep distance will hit you and you will get combo. You can't do both at the same time. You have to pick and choose, make hard reads. But if you're full screen with Omni-Man, then yes, you can do his stance. But I'm talking about in the neutral side when you're outside sweep distance and you're thinking what they're gonna do. Fireballs in this situation are very strong because you can't just react to them all the time.
Let me ask you this
Who the
question.
hell is trying to mix Omni-Man full screen with Farrah? No, they're doing it mid-screen. That's where it's scary.
Let me ask you this question. And this is, I mean, I will determine, the audience can as well, whether you understand the game at the highest level of play. I'm not saying I do, but I have fought people like, Mighty Unjust. I've run into a lot of these online tournament players. What's the best thing that you have fought in this game? Go ahead and tell me.
I guess I fought a Cyrix who set played me to death. I fought a Homelander that mixed me to death. But honestly, those matches didn't even annoy me. The matches that annoyed me the most was when I had to sit there and duck against Serena Knives, against Melina and Footsies. When I had to, it was a close match. I have 30% life left. I have 30% life left, and they do fair mid screen. I get hit by random projectile 50-50, and I lose. Those matches tilted me more than Homelander just mixing me up like MKX or Cyrex set playing me.
You're essentially admitting that.
No, what I'm admitting is this game has instances of zoning that actually do determine if you win or lose a round that you're not admitting because you're acting like the game has no zoning.
I'm not talking about zoning. I'm asking you. You literally just told me the best things you said you fought, not necessarily the most annoying, which you somewhat attribute to zoning. I guess you're one of the modern FGC members now. But like,
what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm the modern FGC member.
You complained about zoning. You complained about defense. Everything.
I'm complaining about zoning. Where did I complain about zoning? You're the one saying the game has no zoning.
The most annoying thing is literally like a low mid-tier character, like low mid-tier cameo. What the fuck are you talking about?
Ooh, the Serena with Melina? Yes, it was very annoying to fight.
Why?
Because I can't move. I'm sitting there ducking like I'm in a freaking like tunnel or some shit.
Yeah, you're a modern FGC member.
Bitch, I'm trying to play here. I'm trying to throw punt, play foot. I can't. I sit there and duck, stare at the ground because he may or may not do Serena cameo. How is that not some form of zoning? What in the world? I feel like a goddamn plant. Somebody just planted me into the goddamn grass. I'm waiting to grow.
It's like this fool is like complaining about. He literally just admitted that, dude. That there are these two characters like Cyrex and. But oh my God, God forbid I have to hold down.
Here's why I can't. I'm not. First of all, I wasn't talking about Cyrex. I was talking about Serena Melina. It was very annoying the zoning in that because I'm trying to play foots with Melina, but I can't because anytime she could call her cameo, and if I try to like do a normal or footsies or withstanding three with it, I'm getting comboed. So I have to sit there and concede neutral, let her dominate the whole neutral game, walk up, do stuff because it's hard for me to challenge. Because she could be like back cameo. Oh, you try to do anything but stare at the ground for 10 seconds, and you get comboed. Like.
I don't give a damn about a cameo. What I'm concerned about is finding characters like
you don't care what the characters actually do. You just want to argue to be right about something because that's what the character actually does to you.
I'm telling you, as Kung La, I don't give a damn about Serena. What I care about is a character like.
Not everybody has Kung La's tools. You could just sit there, wait for sector cam, and then come in 50-50.
I'll name you like 4 other characters: Kung Lao, Havoc, Peacemaker, even a bad character like Kitana. I don't give a damn about Serena. What I care about is being knocked down. Okay, how about
this? Play against my zoning Omni-Man. We'll do that. After this podcast is over, you want to run a set?
Sure.
Because I have a new cameo, and I've been playing defensive and runaway now, and it's actually, I've been having more success lately.
Oh my God, I'm so afraid of the zoning. Please don't real.
I'm not saying you're afraid of the zoning, but I will say this. I guarantee you this. I promise you, when we play, you will lose some matches or rounds to me because of projectile. I will say that.
What, like 2 out of 20?
Don't care. Like, I know for a fact in some of these games you will be losing to me because you got hit by a projectile. That's all I'm going to say.
Again, this is personal for you.
This is not personal. You're the one telling me projectiles never good this night. Yet projectiles in this game are giving you full combos. You're getting hit by them.
Dude, that's not the meta. What are you talking about?
I never said it was the meta. Again, you're telling me the game has no zoning, but I'm telling you there's fragments of zoning that can...
Listen to people like me and
this is why I can't argue or discuss with you because you don't understand what I'm saying. You're going off about random stuff. You're pulling out random words I didn't say, like godlike zoning when I never said that. Like it's just all over the place, dude. You're not here to actually have a discussion. You're here to randomly rant about what you want to get out there and then not actually have a discussion about it because you like to put words in people's mouth and then go around it.
Thinks MK1 is like fragment. What does that even, guys? Have you ever heard this game has fragments of zoning? Like, have you ever heard stuff like that? Like, what does that even mean? Like what?
It
You can throw a
literally.
couple.
So okay, now you don't know what scrubby means. Now you don't know what fragment means. Let me tell you what it means. It means a portion of something, a fragment, like a piece of it. Okay. Damn.
No,
look,
I don't think. I don't think the game. I don't think the zoning in this game is anything close to scrubby. What does that even mean?
You don't know what scrubby means? Okay, for the 100th time, let me tell you. Low effort shit you
No, I
do
care
that can
about
be.
fragments. What does that mean?
What does fragment
fragments of
mean? It's like
zoning.
a portion, like a piece of something. What do
Guys,
you like? I don't. Yo, is this guy
fragments of zoning.
crazy?
Be
Did you
afraid.
drink?
Be afraid of the fragments of zoning in MK1.
Did you drink tonight? Honest question. Did you drink before this?
I wish I had drunk more after listening to this conversation. Maybe I would have felt better.
Well, you should have drank more because I feel like you're still a little, you know. What is the end goal of this conversation, honestly? You obviously don't want to have discussion about the game. You don't. So, what do you want to do?
Well, I
you want
think
me to
we
play
should
you
wrap
real quick so I can hit you with a projectile and beat you? Like, what do you want to do?
I mean, yeah, win that 1 out of 10 games, and then you could talk
Dave, I
about
don't think you understand.
fragment
I
of
will not be
zoning.
using. No. I will not be using my bottle on you this time. Look, I'm not ready yet to play against you. I know you're still gonna beat me because you're much better, but I have been dabbling with other cameos, and one of the cameos I've been using lately that I was enjoying yesterday. As a matter of fact, let me tell you in the audience's story. For the first time last night, out of 3 weeks of me playing MK1, I was laughing. It was hilarious. I played against somebody and I was laughing. For the first time ever, I was on the other side of enjoying MK1, having fun, and my opponent I was playing against was complaining on the mic like, oh my god, you're so scrubby, all you do is run around, do the projectile, this and that. Like, bro, you have no... Dude, I was dying. I uploaded that video if you guys want to see that to my archive channel. It was a Combat League match, but dude, that dude had me dying. It was so funny and hilarious, but I also felt bad for that at the same time, because yes, what he was saying was true, and that he was complaining like, you're scrubby, no skill. I'm like, dude, facts, 100% truth. What I'm doing literally takes no skill. I'm just putting a projectile on the screen, coming in with a mix-up. If you get hit, I get a combo. It was so brain dead. But yes, I actually had fun last night doing that because of how stupidly dumb and easy it was to be. And you want zoning to be buffed. And now you wonder why NRS won't buff it. Because it has fragments of that in it. I know you don't know what that word means either, but this is why they're careful with wanting to add more.
I'm bored. Wrap it up.
You have nothing to say about the story, like how I was actually having fun, and shouldn't you be happy for me? Like, wow, it was a fun, enjoyable match. As a matter of fact, let me post in the chat for you guys so you guys can see the video, and then we'll wrap it up real quick. But dude, this is I was actually I know it's hard to believe this, but I was laughing and having fun during an MK1 match. But the thing that sucks is it was at the expense of my opponent. He was not having fun. That dude was not having fun. Here's the video I just posted in the chat for you guys. That was the most fun match I played in Combat League so far, and that I'm experimenting with other cameos, and man, that dude did not like this at all. Okay, well, I guess we'll get ready to wrap up. Any closing statements you want to make, Dave?
Not really. Buff zoning, buff defense.
Okay, fair enough. But with that said, I guess we could wrap it up here. This has been episode 59. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. I know it was a little bit weird in the beginning with Chernny being on and then Tom being on a later part. It's just kind of how we did it because Dave wanted to start early and Tom couldn't make it till later, so we compromised with having both on like that. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. Do you think MK1 would be a better game if they buff zoning, if they make projectiles even better than they are right now? How do you feel the current state of MK1 is? What do you guys think would be needed to be added in your preference of making it better? Thank you guys again for listening to episode 59. Peace out.